سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Impact Attack. It's right here on hackerhamin.podbean.com. I'm your host, most listen on the West Coast, your boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Shaffer. If you are watching this in video format at a later time, it should be hosted right here on Hamin Media Group's YouTube. Of course, hopefully you are listening through your ear holes as well, as I've got a litany of different guests here, a roundtable assortment, a reunion. It's an action-packed edition of the Impact Attack. On this week's episode, guys, making his return to the Impact Attack after 9 long months, the Puerto Rican Mr. Clean, the sexy nightmare man himself, the man who will get on the subway, kick your ass if you're not wearing a mask, and then wipe that shit down and make it clean as glass. And no, he's not bringing podcasts for that ass. Mr. Big Ray Hernandez.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the reporter of the people, the man of the planet, Big Ray, here to stay to talk some lucha libre, which is your Spanish lesson for wrestling today. Matthew Shaffer, I am unbelievably excited to be here on the Impact Attack, the show that started all here at #Hamin Media. Dude, I gotta be honest with you, man. If I stood up right now, I'd knock over my laptop. I am so excited.
Well, try to keep it in your pants.
I'm trying.
We've got a professional man here who's a CEO, owner of a company, and we've also got an individual who I think is coming from Impact Wrestling who wants to get his shot. So before we get into that, though, of course, we would be remiss without introducing the man himself, Mr. Ben Hamin. Ya Allah. Good morning, sir.
Ya Allah, ya Allah. I wasn't sure if you infidels could see me or not. Trying to get things set here. I was going to go live at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, but for some reason, OBS looks crazy, so we'll just let you do all the work today here. I don't give a good damn. But Big Ray is back, the original to the Impact Rebellion here at WrestleZone. At hackerhamin.podbean.com. That's right, infidels. We've been on the scene for far too long, and as it ever changes, it was a crazy week for them with firings, new hirings, and good brothers on the way to shake up the pay. But right now, it's the man himself, fresh from the beauty salon. It's Dr. Ted, the man beast. Or who is it this week? Actually, I should say, who is joining us this week?
Well, I'm actually making a return, guys. You might think extra medium Ted McNailer was dead, but no. And you might be thinking, wait, you already tried that. XXXL didn't pick you up. Why are you back? Well, if they aren't going to work on getting TV time, I tried to talk to Scott D'Amore, and they stopped in catering. What was I supposed to do? But this week, I found my team where extra medium Ted McNailer can get really extra. And you know who it is. I'm wearing the black and yellow. One of them's really big. One of them's really little. So they need someone medium. That's right. TJP and followed by extra medium Ted McNailer is going to take you right to the top. And we'll get into that as soon as we talk about their little tag team match and their undefeated streak that's just now getting started.
I like it. He's back. He's back.
So you guys were gone last week. I think my point was proven. With 10 guys, I could take out Shamrock because 2 guys, the North took him out, guys, last week. I'm just saying, by themselves.
People calling Shamrock a pussy and shit, and I'm like, what? Have you lost your mind? Like, what? I don't understand that at all, because the guys calling him out don't look half as good as Shamrock does, and he's 30 years older than them, and he could snap any part of your body legit if he wanted to. So I don't know if I really like the way that they're using Shamrock, man, in the time that they have him. I like the Sammy business, but everything after has been kind of clown face McShit kicker.
They continue to prove it, I think.
I figure after he took the dick flip, what else can you do?
It was all downhill.
Yeah.
Big Ray, you've just
actually was I just was BSing with my wife yesterday, and I was like, it would have been awesome if Shamrock was the only one guy that it didn't work on. Like say Joey, obviously it's not going to happen now because Joey Ryan's gone, but say back when it did happen, say if Joey did the thing like everyone thinks Shamrock's going to take it, and then Shamrock sold it, and did a particular torsion and just twisted his balls and Joey tapped out. That would have been amazing.
It's the easy reversal for Shamrock. He does the old Shamrock jam cock, and that's it.
That's it.
Puts it on him. Ray, you've been in the Shamrock jam cock a couple times. Is it easy or tough to get out of once he gets it on you?
Well, it actually depends on whether you want to get out. If you don't want to get out, a man that age, in that shape, relatively handsome man, I would probably want to be in what you would call a rest hold for at least a half an hour.
Absolutely.
But if you didn't want to get out, if you did want to get out, it'd be kind of it'd be difficult to get out. Matt, I wanted to show you something, Matt. Do you remember this, Matt? Do you remember you giving me this?
The green screen's kind of messing it up, but I get what you're showing. It's a Godzilla Funko Pop. I do remember that.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know.
Conspiracy Horseman merch. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I am wearing Conspiracy Horseman merch, which you can go to twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman and ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin, Stevie Richards, BWO Stevie, SEG shirts, and
72-hour 4th of July American sale, so you can save even more.
Yalla.
And it looks like Big Ray. Are you wearing a Conspiracy Horseman shirt as well?
Well, yes, I am.
Greg, Garbeck's Edge tattoo version, and what one do you have? You got the original, not the Dynasty remake. That's the first one. So, and me, I'm straight out of WWE Shop Zone clearance. So happy Lana Day to everybody.
Hold on, I'm sorry, Ben. Are you legit wearing a Happy Lana Day?
I bought matching ones for me, Russo, and Stevie, and I also bought Russo the Legit Boss glasses and the blue Legit Boss wig to go with it.
And do you get 30% off of what's her name? Gimmick Joanna from Impact Jones. What's her name? Big strong girl.
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace's gimmick.
You get 30% off of her special page.
Yeah, OnlyFans. If there are any out there today, actually, we're launching right now. Goldilocks, patreon.com/Goldilocks, you guys. Just hitting and man, awesome content, sexy content, fun daily joke content. If you love that Online look, she is kicking ass with her bandmates. You're gonna see rock and roll stuff, lingerie. If you subscribe to the sexy tier, if you just want your daily jokes and catch the news cycle with her, there's all kinds. If you really want to interact with her, there's an upper level where you have video chats with her and whatnot too. There's a lot of people who consider her an online digital friend, so there's opportunity there as well, man. So already it's starting to take off, and I'm pumped for her. She's kicking ass and creating tons of content.
And I'll say, if you're on the fence, I checked out yesterday. She has a promo video on YouTube that kind of talks about it and puts it over, and it's really well done. And I would just encourage you to at least check that out and see what she has to offer, because you can tell that she's putting a lot of herself, a lot of her passion into this. You can tell when people set up a Patreon page and they just do it just to see who will pay the money versus someone who really wants to try to have a connection with their fans. And you can tell that she's really wanting to have that extra layer of connectivity with her people.
Everybody here in this chat right now, whether it's Ray, you, or MSG, or me, knows how crazy and how much time goes into production for real. And now she is really, because media is demassified, she's worked with the best producers in music. She's worked with from hip hop, country music, and rock, and has tons of connections, and she's seen stuff produced. So that's her doing all that production. You guys just see this sizzle reel. It's 6 minutes. Yeah, it's so well done, and that's just part of what she's doing. Green screens for the daily dump. She's doing a bath time thing. There's a Locks of Love on there, which is going to be a dating show as well on there. So you're looking for love in all the right places. Definitely Patreon over there, man, is the way to go. Yeah, Big Ray.
Ray wants to go on the show. He wants to be on the show.
Oh, baby.
Halftime show. Oh wait,
it's gonna be kind of like Studs. There's gonna be like a love connection. Remember Studs back in the day, Big Ray?
My God, am I gonna be put in one of those Shamrock gimmicks by a tall Amazon type chick?
Well, hey, you never know if wow, shit, now I'm blanking on it. If alpha female wants to get on there as well, you guys, I think, can strike up a love connection on there. I think
Oh,
Listen,
y-
I already have an angle to pitch, or my gimmick to pitch.
Yeah.
Listen, Tub Time Ted. Think about it.
she's got a bath time thing, so I think you could do a run in and yeah, dude, she's looking for other people. I think that would be wonderful. So they're going to be talking about
Wait,
adults.
so all we have to do is come up with gimmick names to get in the tub with Goldie? Because I'll come up with 1,000 right now.
Probably more of her in the tub on Zoom and you in the tub on Zoom, going back and forth like it usually is, with you and the
I thought
live
that was a Patreon
all the
tier.
chats you subscribe to.
Shout
You
out
help,
to
a
Goldie.
lot, you help a lot of girls get through community college with your subscriptions. You've done well. Thank you.
how long a trip do I have to take on the Manhattan-bound F train to get to Goldilocks? I'm just wondering.
Well, you never know, man. If you subscribe to the right tier, you might be able to get a private shuttle there or something. You never know what goes. There's a lot of rock stars that are involved with it too, or bandmates and stuff. So they're kind of, I guess, hunky guys. The one guy's got a beautiful head of hair. That son of a bitch. It makes me so angry. His hair's so nice. And so it's not just for, tape trader masturbators out there. It's definitely for people who want to have fun, who are looking to support independent media. And if there's chicks out there who want to see cool rock guys, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, well, I definitely would agree. There's not been a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling, guys. It's just, more allegations, more boring shows. I wanted to bring up something random though. I was watching that show on Fox called Tag. I think it comes on or after SmackDown. It is like American Gladiators plus Ninja Warrior inserted inside some sort of
getting 80- like stated though, right? Like they're just trying to escape getting fucking touched, and then you go and it's parkour and all that shit, right?
They do different things. It's like a mix of it's like they revamped some of the American Gladiator gimmicks and called it Tag, and it's also they kind of make it wrestling style. These people have gimmicks. Everybody has a gimmick. They always have an intro. I'm the boss. I'm the fire starter. I'm the Beastmaker.
I don't like that shit.
I gotta tell you, it kind of reminded me of me during my time in middle school, chasing the girls around the lunchroom. I never could get my hands on a boob. I'm just saying. I tried.
Dr. B, would you lead a team on Tag? Would you be the team leader?
Oh, of course. I would bring in TJP and Falaba and myself, extra medium Ted McNailer, and we would defeat everyone. Just like TJP and Falaba are going to go on an undefeated streak as long as they hire me. If not, they're going to lose their next match. Mark my words.
Hey, medium. What's your go-to finisher? Do you have a signature move or a finisher that you and Fala and your TJP use on a weekly basis?
Well, we're in the process of developing it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say that you would expect it to be a big move, and then others you might expect it to be a small move. But at the end of the day, my friend, it's really going to be extra medium.
Wow, that's
mind blowing.
Those little you guys are playing. This is what I want to bring to America. You see this?
Oh, I saw you. You sent me that.
Called Gio Storico. Happens once a year in Florence, Italy.
Yeah, they're like I think there's 4 teams. It basically starts in the semifinals or the whatever, and then they go right to the finals. So
9 days later, after you might heal, you get to come in. It's full on rugby with MMA fighting. There's no rules except a score, and if you miss the score, the other team gets half a point. And they just are kicking the shit out of each other. They're all gassed up. If you go on Netflix now, it's called I think Home Sport, and it's the first episode. But dude, I think we need to franchise this and bring it to America, like 10 cities, and then people just kick the shit out of each other. This is end of days Roman shit, and I think we really need to capitalize off of it. They just beat the fuck out of each other, bro.
Those guys look like, they just wake up in the morning and eat, sleep, and train at that point, right? I mean,
yeah, they're like a lot of them are like nightclub bouncers and shit,
okay.
all gassed up, and they just train Muay Thai, and they do that. Like that's been going on since 500 AD. That's like the sons of gladiators, like, you know what I mean? All trickled down that have still been there. It's crazy to watch, sit there and watch it. Check out that Netflix shit.
Ben, I'd still goes back to the conversation we had down in Florida about, it would be great if society could punish publicly the people that deserve it the most, and especially with the most heinous crimes in the Coliseum fashion, and you just come up with the most intense and torturous ways to put people through the meat grinder, so to
You
speak.
could put a set team of 14 people from Parliament in that, and like just they have to face, because it goes for 50 minutes. There's no tapping out.
And
Fight. You have to stay in the fight and go for it.
Could you imagine a guy like Tucker Carlson running around there with some gym shorts?
Oh, dude, you got yeah. Well, you see, what's his name? Hillary Clinton's pedophile spokesperson there.
Which one?
The one who gave the Chester Bennington's dad.
Oh, geez, Gimmick Jones. Just call him Gimmick
Costa?
Jones. I do.
No, the weird one and his brother. They got all the pedophile porn and fucking
Acosta?
not Acosta.
Ben, you're talking about the Clintons. Everybody is weird and pedophiles.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Like I like that whole squad. Take that whole squad and throw them out there, and they got to go for 50 minutes against those guys.
Yeah.
It's over, Johnny. Like,
but we talked about, what if they had like a torture obstacle course that led into the games? The one I remember we talked about. Imagine this. Those big slides at the fair that they cut. You get on the carpet and it goes down. Well, imagine if it was twice the size, and instead of it being a slide, it was made out of sandpaper, and you had to start off by sliding down naked down the. Yeah.
Why?
Amongst other obstacles, and then they finally go into the Coliseum after they've been tortured.
Right? Like a long time ago. Like I came up with this whole thing. I was like, because it's interesting, germane to this, because in the downfalls of society, if you look at Roman history, the greatest empires of all time, they always go back into their entertainment is man killing man, and then usually ends with man versus lion and man versus beast, like that, for their entertainment. So I saw this shit, and like we're not that far away from that, especially when we're watching the Tiger King and Carol Baskins, you bitch, and her husband's getting fed to tigers, and we're watching people get attacked by tigers for our entertainment on Netflix. That's very close to the fall of Rome as everything comes around us. So I say, let's capitalize on it. Put the Illuminati people that really we can out, from Bill Gates to Hillary Clinton to everybody who's fucked us over, but we do it at $79.99 every weekend, and you can choose to if you want to or not, and they're already sentenced to death, but it's interesting, fun ways that are like very dangerous American Gladiator type scenarios, all kinds of things like that people would want to watch. Like you get to choose four parachutes, and only one of them's got a parachute in it.
Oh,
the other one's got like the old laundry gag or whatever like that, and then you kick them out of the plane, and if they get it right, then they got to land it, and then it's off to the next thing where they wear a meat suit and they got to run a 5K with grizzly bears behind them and shit like that. So there's all types of things, and then you bet, so you take all the money from that, and that gets donated back into society to fix all the problems that we have, because everybody would be tuning in to see all that shit. And the Vegas betting line would be fucking unbelievable, And things like, Brock Lesnar versus Hillary Clinton, 16 rounds, and it doesn't matter. Like that, it's just going to go, bro. Like that. And if she survives, then it's on to the next thing where she has to water ski across the Atlantic Ocean.
Hey, Ben, I got a quick question. Do you think society has gotten to a point where we're all PC'd out? Seriously, like we're all just getting tired. That's why shit like this is popping up all over the internet.
Bro, pendulum swings so far one way, it's going to swing back the other way. And there's fucked up shit on the other side of the pendulum too, man.
But the reason I'm asking you this question is, do you think, because wrestling has gotten so PC, dude, like, listen, guys, I freaking review SmackDown every week. Okay, it's gotten
Attack with Colin Wysong. Shout out to him.
Don't you shout him out? Not yet. He hasn't earned that point. Anyway, so yes, love you, Colin. I'm just saying that eventually, is there going to be that turn? And I'll go to Mr. To Dr. Medium over here really quickly. Like, will there be that turn to professional wrestling, or will it just kind of turn back into that 90s kids show with clowns running around and people like picking their boogers and silly things like that, or will it flip? And are we going to see, you know, maybe in the ring we'll see a bear against a dude wearing a meat suit? Like where are we going with this, man?
That's the extreme weird fantasy, and it's a great point because here we are, and you know, this is our platform, so I'll break kayfabe and whatever. But we've got all these companies devastated right now, right? Through all this scandal. 2CW went away in 2015. 2CW is a hardcore company that says fuck you in the face of every other company and uses their talent in a way that outshines how the main company that pays them uses it and endears them to 2CW. And there's hopefully or supposedly going to be a reunion show in the end of the year, a massive one with all your favorite stars from Impact to AEW to ECW to WWE to original homegrown 2CW guys and ROH, and it'll fucking blow the doors off of anything that's done that year. But now, let's say these big five companies all got a black eye because of this bullshit, right? That you just outlined perfectly. What if 2 or 3 of those fold? You know, and now there's an open thing, and then they're still doing throw piss in a guy's face, and we're back to that booger picking era. I think we're there, aren't we?
Right.
We're in this lull. The time when Vince Russo went to Vince McMahon and told him his product absolutely sucks on Livewire, on air. You know what I mean? Like, what is that catalyst going to be? And then what was happening at that same time? ECW fucking hits and the underground rises up, and it's very counterculture and fuck you, and you don't fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, even though Vince was funding it most of the time secretly. 2CW could be more than that now because you're not staying up till 2 a.m. to watch some shit with the demassified shit that we got going on. The deal that we got with Switcher Studio and how Stevie has that set up, we can just set up iPhones and have a 16 camera digital shoot, go live to Twitch, sell it for $4.99 or live on YouTube and say, fuck every other, like, carry this, you got to go to Fight App and you got to go do this, that, and the other. They can come to us afterwards and be an extra distribution thing, but you can do it all yourself, DIY now. And you got that core fan base and it gets out there with the right stars and promoted the right way. You let Bruce and them keep doing what they're doing on SmackDown. Let all the weird pervs who run sidebar, you know, wrestling promotions who think they're a competitor fall to the wayside and eat themselves. It's going to be a wide open range in 2021. It's just who's got the balls and the knowledge to run a company like that. Only about a dozen people that could step up and do it. Who's got the money to do it and the connections? Maybe 1 or 2.
One of the man beats real quick. I'm sorry, Matt. Listen, between us, you know, it's just you and me here. I've been, listen, I love Falaba. I love TJP. So what I've been doing is I've been actually learning Fabalish, which is basically, you know, the way Falaba communicates. And I know that you're very, you know, inept, not inept. You're very, you know it very well. All right. I'm trying to think of good words, but right now I just woke up in the morning. Anyway, so if I asked you the same question I asked Ben in Fabalish, would you be able to answer it?
Well, of course, it depends on the exactly the nature of the question, because you know, I'm not one to just share all of TJP and Fala's, you know, personal business, but I'll certainly do the best I can.
Okay, so really quickly, bah, wrestling sucks. Bah, we need better ratings. Bah, Matt looks better with long hair.
To that, honestly, I'd have to, if I'm speaking on an intellectual level, I have to say, bah, I agree on all points. Bah.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I've been working really hard, Matt. You know, before I came, I knew I was going to come on to the Impact Attack at least a month ago. So I've been, you know, studying the language, and
I didn't realize you were so fluent. It was very beautifully said, honestly.
I appreciate it, man. It's the language of love, the true language of love.
Honestly.
Yeah. Well,
Try language.
I have to be careful, but if my wife overhears me out, she's going to tear me out of here, and it's going to be game over for me in this podcast. So
well, man.
keep it down.
We don't want that.
I saw Fala, because he's not worried about being a body guy, his thing's half sumo, but he was wearing his shirt in the ring. And I was like, hey, let's sell some pro wrestling tees, baby, because apparently he needs to make some money too. So when you're over there at prowrestlingtees.com getting those Horseman shirts that you see these guys wearing today, definitely grab an extra one from Fala Ba, man. That's a great independent wrestler who put his time in and made the most of his opportunity. And unfortunately, I'm sure they treat him somewhat well, but I think that when a new tag team is coming in from WWE, they're going to see a lot bigger paycheck than what Fowler's seeing. So support a guy who definitely makes his money off of wrestling.
And I'd say on that note, real quick, if there's any wrestler that you really appreciate or like, buying their merch is the best way to support them, because normally, even if they are with a national company, when you buy their merch, it goes, at least a good significant portion does go back to the wrestler themselves. So any independent wrestlers, anyone that you're a fan of, it does go a long way in helping them out. So yeah, certainly to echo what Ben says.
Lana got a total of 38 cents off the shirt. That's how low the price was on. I got 3 of them for under $20. And dude, they are every bit as comfortable as the burlap they're printed on. They are they are soft as taking a skateboard blast, onto the gravel. They are that nice and comfortable to wear.
It's like wearing a cereal box.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Lana Day, everybody. It's recycled from old shirts from 1922 and shit, like with the cardboard and the collars and shit, man. It really feels like you're wearing cardboard. Great merch over there at www.shop.com.
What's it smell like?
Frosted Flakes.
Stopped pushes.
Oh, wow. Not surprised.
Oh, wait. It smells like racist makeup too.
Oh, I saw that.
And stripper tears. Just saying. Matt, hi.
And for those that maybe are unaware, that was in regards to was she going live on Instagram during Bobby Lashley stuff with what looked like blackface on.
Yeah,
it's like horrible timing. And great, I think she was doing just one of those mask gimmicks, but it did not look that way.
Not at the time when it's going down, bro. Like,
right.
I don't know what they're thinking about, man, with that. But it doesn't matter what we think, because Lana is the best. Lana's number one.
Matt?
Yeah, no worries. I was just wanted to move in, since you guys were talking about WWE people. That was my first story here, or the only story regarding Impact Wrestling this week, is they have reportedly signed superstars Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Gary Cassidy of Sportskeeda, who had previously reported that the two were close on an agreement, has said they have signed on the dotted line. Broke the news late Monday night. Impact, of course, has been teasing the return of several TNA talents.
What happened? Everything okay? All right, Matt. All right.
Someone call a doctor.
Oh, wait. Is it a large doctor or a medium doctor?
I did not want to cough in your guys' ears like that. Sorry, that came in really bad.
It's okay, but we got nervous because you seemed like you were suffering there, so we wanted to hold you.
I thought you were gonna. It looked like you were going into a stroke or something. Like
I know.
Looked away, your eyes went off into a daze. All right, I'm glad you're back, MSG.
Yeah, it's fine. So it's expected that Anderson Gallows will arrive on Impact either at Slammiversary or shortly thereafter. According to the contract, it's going to allow them to also work in New Japan, as Impact only tapes on a month-to-month basis, 1 to 2 times, if you will. So, Dr. B, what do you think about the return of the Good Brothers to Impact Wrestling?
As with anything, it all depends on how they're going to be utilized, and I feel like, in my opinion, that Impact seems to, at least in my opinion, do a good job of playing up what's relevant in wrestling. So I feel like that's where, if they bring them in, they're going to play up the smarter stories of them referring to, maybe how they weren't utilized properly in WWE, and play more to the highbrow of their, history of being around the world, wrestling in Japan, and utilized more as a top tier tag team rather than being just kind of an underneath tag team like they were used in the WWE. So I think for them, it's a good thing. What it means for the rest of the roster, I'm not so sure. Like what Ben was discussing, like guys like my guys, TJP and Fallah Bahh, when they're trying to fight for their spot. No, in all seriousness, the other tag teams, that's going to be an issue. So it does remain it just leaves me curious anyway to see what it's going to mean for the rest of the roster, especially as it relates to the tag teams, because I can only imagine that probably Anderson and Gallows are going to be, going right to the top of the division.
I mean, Ben walked off. He's so upset, Dr. B. And you bring up, he's been bringing up a good point over the last couple of weeks. Big Ray, for you to jump in, you've been watching Gallows and Anderson, of course, covering WWE. What would you think as far as and now everybody's left. So now we're just left me and Big Ray. I mean, this is.
Should I stay or?
No, you could stay, please stay. I don't want to be alone now.
Right,
oh wait, no, he's back. Sorry, he's back now.
Cool.
So Big Ray, you've been following Gallows and Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like they're gonna make an impact, no pun intended, within this division, or is it taking away? Because Ben has been bringing up over the last couple of weeks that he's not flattered with the idea that Impact Wrestling is reaching out and bringing in other WWE former talent rather than continuing to build their own tag team division.
All right, so there are two ways of looking at this. First and foremost, when Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson came into WWE, we have to go back. All right, they were literally the hottest tag team in professional wrestling. Those guys, I mean, they took it back to the good old days where you had the Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express, and they were selling out, certain Southern Coliseums and so on and so forth. Those guys were that popular. Okay, WWE did nothing with them, absolutely nothing. But with that being said, if you think about it, they won the tag team titles in the WWE. They were parts of major storylines. They were working alongside of people like AJ Styles. They were doing comedy stuff, character work, so on and so forth. So I don't think their time in the WWE was absolutely lost. Okay, that's number one. They come into Impact Wrestling. Now you would say, oh man, this is terrible. They're going to take all these spots away from these guys. Well, then that's the opportunity for the other guys to kind of step up their game. Okay, and you have Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, two great names. Because not for nothing, when people look at Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, I don't think you think about their WWE run. You think about their run with the Bullet Club. You think about their run in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You think about how dominant they could be. And now they have the opportunity to be everything here in America that we used to see in Japan. So with all that being said, I don't think it can be a real negative thing if the other teams do this. Remember back in junior high school or middle school or high school, and you're the cool guy in the classroom, the best looking guy in the classroom, until that dude moved from fucking Seattle, Washington, and he's like 6 feet tall with blonde hair, and he was on the wrestling team, and he's got dimples for days, and the girls look at this guy like, holy shit.
Ray, hold on. Are you describing a personal event? Dr. B here is a physical therapist, so he does therapy as well. I mean, do you have anything you want to get off your chest about this blonde, brooding Seattle, Washington gentleman?
I just actually pulled that out of my ass, but here's the deal, okay? Usually, I always feel like I'm the relatively good-looking one, and then he comes in, this camera comes on, and what happens? All of a sudden, I sit back and I say, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Do people like me? But the fact is that, I had to kick into, and this is what Impact Wrestling tag teams have to do. You have to understand that, yes, those guys are awesome. Yes, those guys have a legacy, a lineage, or whatever you want to call it. But we're good too. We're awesome too. We're handsome in our own way. And they have to perpetuate the positives. So, again, is it a bad thing? No, because you're bringing in top tier talent. They're doing what ECW did back in the day. Okay, and if Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, I don't want to talk the whole show, if Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson come into that business and they cut those Steve Austin promos, making fun of Eric Bischoff, that type of thing, because they can do character work, and I can see them doing some stuff where they're making fun of Vince McMahon and Triple H and even Stephanie McMahon if they wish. If they do it the right way, guys, I genuinely do feel that this can get the tag team division over. And remember, Impact Wrestling is known for two things: the X division and the tag team division. At one time, Impact Wrestling, for a span of a few years, and this is when I started reporting it for Bill Apter over at OneWrestling.com, had the best tag team division out of any organization. I don't care what country you're in. And now maybe it's a rebuilding stage. So I'm sorry I talked so long, but I wanted to hear what you thought, Doc.
No, you made a great point, and I like how you made a positive spin on it, because you're absolutely right. It's up to these guys to step up, because there is opportunity here, and with them coming into Impact and hopefully not just coming in to get over on the tag division, but rather instead help to get the tag division over and really elevate their competition. And that's where you're right. These tag teams are going to have to step up, and specifically, we'll get into a little bit later with the guys I'm here for, TJP and Falaba. We need to see more about what makes these guys click or tick or whatever, and who are they as characters? Why are they working together so well as a tag team, and get people invested in who they are, and why they might have a legitimate shot at beating a world-renowned tag team like Gallows and Anderson. And so you're right. It goes both to the talent as well as creative to make those opportunities happen. But I do believe that, based on at least what I've seen with Impact and having the chance to at least work a couple of shows with them recently, that I do feel like they are open enough to listen to talent ideas as far as creative goes, which I think is hugely important, because when talent does not have any say in creative direction, I think that's where people can run into trouble. But I think there is tremendous opportunity.
Hey, what's up, guys? Just wanted to interject here. We had some technical difficulties in the middle of recording. My computer crashed. I had the blue screen of death come up for just a moment. Said, sorry, we're doing everything we can to make repairs. However, my computer's not fried. It's just this app that I'm using to stream webcam via my phone unfortunately crashed, which affected the computer, and now I'm blathering on. So I apologize for the interruption there and Mr. Ted speaking. We're going to cut back in now. We didn't have any more problems throughout the rest of the show. However, we don't have Ben Hamin, as he had to get called off somewhere, I'm assuming, to assist Goldilocks on her brand new Patreon account. So check out Goldilocks Rocks on her Patreon account. And let's get back into it now, guys, with the rest of the conversation here about Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, followed by TJP and Impact Wrestling.
So sometimes technology messes up, and that's right. So you heard I was kind of cut off there, but basically what I was getting at is that I think it's hugely important for talent. I don't think they should have creative control. I want to be clear on that. However, I do think they should have significant influence on their character and direction. I could get on a whole nother soapbox as far as why they shouldn't have creative control, because that's a whole nother bag of worms. But they should. And I just feel like the environment backstage at Impact lends itself better than say other companies, as far as talent having the opportunity to go and have a conversation. Like, for instance, when they came through, even though it was really short because he was a busy man, Scott D'Amore gave me the time of day, and I got to have at least a brief conversation with them, and that spoke to me as far as, okay, I feel like you could go and have an open conversation with them if you had a strong idea or something that you wanted to pitch to him. Like, he would be all ears for it, I feel like.
Now, really quickly, Maddie, before we had the technical issues, me and Doc, we're really talking.
You guys had a heart-to-heart, apparently. You guys got hammock together and told each other stories.
We did, and I had asked a question. I'd used this example. I said how back in the Attitude Era, you had Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, guys like Triple H. You had all these people throwing ideas at Vince McMahon, and you can have 9 no's, but that 10th yes can be something that can take you to another level when it comes to your character or your TV time or something like that. So the question I asked Doc, and I'm going to ask you again, is, all right, so you got Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson here, right? We had discussed how the team, I guess, that they would be feuding with would probably be the North. But if you're a mid-tier team like the Deaners, if you're a mid-tier team, well, whoa, wow, we're still doing that. Okay, cool, the Daners. So if you're a mid-tier team, how do you get to that second level? How do you get Scott D'Amore? How do you get Cyrus? How do you get whoever is running Impact Wrestling, Josh? How do you get these guys to say, you know what, man, that's a good idea? Like, how would you get yourself over as a team? What ideas would you have? Like you've been in the business for so many years. You've done so much. What would you do? Like right now we have a young independent tag team listening to this podcast. What are you telling them?
Well, I think it comes down to you have, if you really want them to have their ears and their attention, you have to be able to demonstrate your value and show them your value. And I think the best way to do that, granted, it's not easy, but the simplest way, and there's plenty of ways to go about it, is getting your own following independent of a wrestling company, getting yourself over on social media, getting things trending, putting out content, putting up posts, trying to poke the bear, stir the pot, so to speak, with other talent and wrestlers, just to see what can be stirred up and what garners the interest genuinely and organically from the fans that are keeping their eyes out on those social media pages and seeing what's going on. And then as you start to be listened to more, and people start to follow, hey, this is so and so tag team. They're putting shit out that's really good. It's entertaining, and they're calling out all the wrestlers and all the rosters. And then the next thing you know, they're in for a tryout or an opportunity. And that's how a lot of times people do end up getting picked up, is they made some noise elsewhere, whether it be in another promotion, like guys that go to Japan and get over there, or they get over in some other way on some other media platform, and then that allows them to go on and get those type of opportunities because they demonstrated their value by showing that they can garner their own audience independent of the wrestling organization. And that's huge because everyone wants a slice of the pie. There's only so many people that are tuning in each week, and to possibly be able to garner more fans from maybe an area or demographic that is not as well served, then there's your opportunity, and you have to make that for yourself. Again, not easy to do, but the concept in theory is simple. You get yourself over, then people are going to start listening.
Hey, Matt, one of the points I made was that, there is always an opportunity out there. And the example I gave when when I guess we got hacked, I don't know if Sammy Callahan, I don't know if Sammy, I think it's maybe.
Did you see his camera? He turned it away, and the viewers will see if you watch this on YouTube. He turned it away, and we got to see like some sort of dungeon, like his bunker, and then like my computer crashed. So I don't know.
Listen, I don't know if you saw this, but if you really look at when Ben turned the camera, I could swear I saw Sammy Callahan in the background. So we don't know what's happening right now. All I'm saying is a lot of weird stuff happening in Impact Wrestling, a lot of stuff, weird stuff happening here at the Impact Attack. But the example I gave, Doc, is this: make yourself an opportunity. Try new things. I know in a place like the WWE, you can't. Everything is so heavily scripted, but a place like Impact Wrestling, where you have a little more creative control, and the example I used was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold. Yeah, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Are you gonna Matt, would you stop?
What?
Matt, would you? Anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin, right, got on that stage when he won the King of the Ring. Now, he was given an opportunity. Triple H, they did the curtain call. It was what it was. King of the Ring was taken away from him.
Suck it.
Yeah, we're just gonna do this.
This is what you do on the Smack Attack every week. I'm just trying to be like Colin Weissong, right?
I do. Nobody wants to be like Colin Weissong. Sorry, but all jokes aside, seriously, Stone Cold Steve Austin took that opportunity, came up with that character, and out of the blue, I'm sure he didn't script this. I'm sure he didn't write this down. He had two times. There were two times that he made himself. Once where he won that King of the Ring. Okay, and he says, Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. You thump your Bible. And he did. Dude, what happened the next day on Raw? You couldn't even see the fans because they were just signs, T-shirts, homemade T-shirts, banners, people walking around saying, Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. I know it seems intangible. I know it seems impossible. But the fact is, and tell me if I'm wrong, Doc, there could be that one thing that you say. It's like going viral on social media.
It transcends into the rest of mainstream society. And on to that point, real quick, very brief, I was back and forth between WCW and WF, and the thing that made me finally turn was actually seeing a horrible working punch by Lex Luger. But one of the things that started piquing my interest, because I didn't watch the product, at least as far as WWF goes, back during the Austin 3:16 days, but I started to notice around town, people are wearing this shirt that says Austin 3:16. What the heck does that mean? I had no idea, but it drew my interest. And then when I a few months down the line started watching, it all clicked. I go, okay. And immediately I bought into it as a fan as well. So it's right finding that one thing, and you got to keep throwing shit out there. And you might have 50, 100 ideas that it only gets you so far. It doesn't really make you go viral, make you blow up. But that one thing can make all the difference, make the rest of your career.
And I would say go to your strengths, Matt. And I'm going to go to you because I know we have to jump into Impact. Go to your strengths. And I'm going to use another good example. You have a guy like the Road Dogg, okay? Back then, the Road Dogg had a real good speaking. He could sing. He had a real good speaking voice. So what got him over? Oh, you didn't know? Well, your ass better call somebody. That got, they went over people. They do it to this day.
Yeah.
They do it to this day. It wasn't that difficult. It was something simple.
Yeah.
He went to his strengths. He had that ring announcer voice, the rich tone that people like to hear. And he went with it, dude. And guys, I'm telling you, man, I really do feel. And I told Matt this, and I know we're jumping in the Impact, Matt. I review SmackDown for the Smack Attack with the handsome, well-hung Colin White song every single week. And I genuinely, wholeheartedly, in my heart, feel that show feels like it's 4 to 5 hours long. I told you this, Matt, via text message. This show I watched today or yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this video or audio, felt like it zoomed by. I was like, wow, boom, the pace, boom, boom, boom. They hit their points. They did their backstage segments. Everything was just clicking. And I was like, right, Matt? I said, whoa, the show's over? The main event? Unbelievable. I had so much fun watching this. Now I have a job to do, guys. I have to review SmackDown. Do I want to every single week? No. But if it wasn't for a guy, and I'm going to put Colin over. If it wasn't for the fact that I work with a guy like Colin, or if I worked with a guy like Matt, or if I worked with a guy like Ben, or you, Doc, you know what I'm saying? I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much as I do. So it's kudos to the people that we work with here on the platform and the personalities and talents we have here. Matt, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, to your point about Gallows Anderson, to wrap that conversation, there's been reports and speculation out that there, from a creative standpoint, they're going to be doing like their Talk and Shop Mania. That's going to be an integral part of their character and development within Impact itself. So that might have been, an advantage to them as far as with them signing with the company, having that creative freedom ability to run their own independent brand themselves on the side, and continuing to take bookings as well, and New Japan. So long term, I think for them, it's going to probably make them just as much, if not more money, and they're going to have to do less work, which is good on their bodies for professional wrestlers, longevity of their career, right? So, and they can get over with character if their Talk and Shop Mania thing was as successful as, their stuff on Southpaw Wrestling when they were doing that. So if they're going to be integrating some of that good old boys, good brother type of character within Impact, I think it could definitely make a difference. But let's get started. I mean, go ahead.
I'm gonna make one last point. I'm sorry,
Sure.
and then we will get into it. And it's just only because it solidifies Ray's point, because you talked about the Road Dogg being over. Let me ask you all on your all's opinion. How good of a technical wrestler do you feel like the Godfather was? Okay, so on that same note, how over back in the day was the Godfather?
Right.
Come get on the
and it just came out of it came out of that one idea, and it was more in line with who he was as a person. I don't think he's, as far as I know, I don't think he's a pimp in real life, but I do understand he's one that that partake in certain things, lighten up the fatty, so to speak, and the club lifestyle. I'll tell, part of it is I want to tell a real quick funny story. I usually don't like to stooge personal stuff, but this happened in front of an entire locker room, so therefore I think it's appropriate just because so many people saw this happen. But their show where Godfather, the last year show, was at an indie show, and actually I heard the secondhand from a few of my guys that were there, and apparently he rolled up in the locker room, put his bags down, and just said, "All right, who's got the smokes?" And then everyone just kind of looked like, "What?" And he goes, "No, for real. Who's got the smokes? Because I'm here and I'm ready to smoke." It's like, there it is. He is who he is. But part of the best wrestlers are people who take a portion of their personalities and just turn that dial all the way up. And guys like Stone Cold, guys like Godfather, guys who are, had those big unique moments where they really got over back in the day. And even, in recent years, are because they took an element of their personality and they just turned the dial and they took a chance on it. and the rest is history.
You know,
All right,
I'll put.
that's my soapbox.
No, I'm gonna bounce off of you real quick and make this real simple for people that maybe don't understand, you know, the wrestling. I guess like the technicality of what you're saying regarding, you know, getting over and character. It's like this, real simple, guys. And girls, you know, you don't necessarily have to be the best looking guy or girl to get the best looking partner. Why? Because 9/10 out of time, especially when it comes to guys, you know, trying to get the girl, it's character that gets you over. What do I mean? A great personality, a quick wit, you know, intelligence. You may think that you can step up to, dude, if you guys had seen the women that I've been with, I am an ugly son of a bitch. I look like a foot on a bad day. Okay? On a good day, excuse me. And the fact is that if you can talk, okay, wrestling, if you can talk, if you can convey confidence, wrestling, if you're smart, wrestling, if you have that personality, that gimmick, you can go out there and get whatever you want. It's up to you guys. It's up to you guys. Just like the dating world. You see, wrestling is amazing. And this is why I love wrestling. And I think me and Ben had spoke about this way back in the day in the old WZ, you know, Tricky Nicky, Dickie Hausman days, where, you know, you don't necessarily have to be perfect. You don't have to be great at anything. You just have to be really good at a certain thing to get to that next level. And listen, guys, go out there, try it out. I guarantee you guys, you know, for you guys out there that are spanking your monkey every single night, you think you can't get that dime piece that's sitting at the end of the bar, just walk over, give it a little swagger. And guess what? What did I say before, Doc? What did I say before, Matt? You may get 9 no's, but that 10th yes could be a forever yes. Who knows? So go out there and try it, guys. I feel like this is like kind of an inspirational type, you know, pushing these.
I like it, and that emotion is exactly what it's about. It's the reason character works is because people have to have a reason to connect with you on an emotional level, and no matter how cool or devastating your moves are, everyday people can't relate to taking a pile driver through a table. You know what I mean? Like they can't connect with that, but they can connect on someone who was maybe had their boss shit on them and they got revenge and they grabbed their boss and then they pile drive them through a table. That they can get behind because they had the emotion behind the character. And to that point, that's why you got to keep throwing stuff against the wall, keep showing your personality, and then finally find that one thing that really helps you relate to the rest of mainstream society.
Hey guys, you know how I got over one time? You want to hear a good story? And this is brief. Matt, I was working at the Gap when I was young. I was like 18 years
Shout out
old.
to Billy Ray Valentine.
Yeah, that's when me and Billy Ray Valentine actually met each other. We used to work at the Gap. I used to do security there. I was a loss prevention agent back in the day, and we had a manager. I'll call her. Fuck it, nobody has his name. Her name is Maite. I won't give her last name. She was a very attractive, like way out of my league type, you know. But she treated me like shit. She talked to me like shit. She used to always pull me into the office and try to write me up for this and that. You know how I got over? Personality, persistence, and then guess where I ended up? In her bedroom, baby.
Maite? You ended up in Maite?
Oh yeah, I ended up right inside, bro. At least 3 inches.
Well, all right.
That's all I have.
All right. Well, guys, we're 45 minutes into the show. While I love the conversation, I think we should go ahead and move into the impact.
To be fair, this is the first time Big Ray and I have had a chance to really, have extended conversation. So I think that's part of it. We're both like kind of like both the wheels are turning and we're getting excited. So I'm gonna have to make it a point to join you guys for the Smack Attack one of these weeks.
Oh,
we're
well,
really enjoying this.
Well, me and Colin, I think Colin had reached out to you, and we'll stooge this off.
Yeah.
And I told him that because what I think is best, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, because we hear our familiar voices on the Smack Attack, Impact Attack, so on and so forth. Wouldn't it be cool to kind of get like a little bit of a camaraderie going where we have Doc maybe go over to the Monday Locker Room, Rick Vickery maybe do the Impact Attack, maybe we have Matt Shaffer take over the Smack Attack, and that way we can all work together and have this beautiful orgy of wrestling love and knowledge that came out sticky.
I don't want to watch SmackDown, so no.
Oh, sorry, whatever.
Stop trying to make me watch that show. But there was a good show I liked that we should get into here, guys. And I guess you might say Impact Wrestling over the last couple days, over the last week, was in a little bit of trouble. And that gentleman is also being teased and is a potential returning superstar at this upcoming Sunday's match. As that's how we start off the show. As Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne announced that the world title is now vacant. The new champion will be crowned at Slammiversary. Match will now be consisted of Ace Austin versus Trey versus Eddie Edwards and that mystery opponent. Big Ray, you said to me last night, you know this is EC3, right?
Mm-hmm. The reason I said that is two reasons. Number one, they have like this little teaser they're putting out where you have the gentleman in the shadow figure, like the SmackDown hacker sitting watching the screen, and there's one person they removed from that teaser, and that was EC3. And I said to myself, okay, the old bait and switch. And number two, I mean, who better to come into the main event and a person that's been putting himself over, like Doc was saying, on social media, doing his thing on social, because right now, you know, EC3 was totally forgotten in the land of WWE. Okay, it's almost like he just went over there, you know, almost like if you didn't know, he was wrestling somewhere in the Congo for the last year or two, right? But now he comes back, brand new look, ripped even more than ever. His social media shit is on point, and he's coming back. I'm telling you, I'm not going to say that I have any stooges out there, which you know I do, Matt.
He does.
But I will, I don't want to guarantee because the card is always subject to change, but I am almost certain that Ethan Carter III will be back on Impact Wrestling, man.
Dr. B?
Well, again, I'm about a month and a half now into, being a constant viewer of Impact Wrestling. So I am unsure on that. It certainly would seem that way. Now, to be devil's advocate, at least from my standpoint, now this would be, a kind of more of a highbrow thing, but I would also think that would be a good little, I guess, red herring to, as you're producing the video, just notice, hey, why don't we slide EC3 out of there and see if any of the internet fans pick up on it, just because,
Right.
the internet fans are smart and they will pick up on little nuances and details that the mainstream audience doesn't. And Impact does like to play to that demographic, to that smarter audience. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying that could also be a possibility too, is that they purposely wanted to see if that stirred the pot by teasing him one week, because they actually played his music a couple weeks ago. And then now they're taking him out of the video and making people think that. So I think to your point, it could go one of two ways. Either they're messing with people purposely and he's not going to be there, or they purposely wanted to take him out so that way people are more surprised when he does show up, because they noticed he wasn't in there anymore.
But here's the problem. Slammiversary is, I guess you would say, their WrestleMania. Some people even say Bound for Glory is more their WrestleMania, but I'll say Slammiversary is like their SummerSlam or WrestleMania. And unless it's a guy like Ethan Carter III, unless they bring in, let's say, a Ryback. I know he's not the best, in the ring, but he is a big name. Unless they bring somebody that's going to make a quote-unquote impact in that main event, like wouldn't it be a downer? And I know what you're thinking. We love Moose. Moose is over. Moose is fantastic. But wouldn't it be kind of a downer if the TNA champion is the fourth person? We've been seeing Moose on TV for the last 4 weeks. Now, whether you know he's coming or not, you have EC3. Trouble. Dude, I don't care who you are. You're going to fucking mark out. You're going to go nuts. Because the kid, again, just like the WWE.
Sorry.
You okay, man?
I'm singing the song. Trouble.
Oh, is that what?
Trouble,
Okay, that's cool.
trouble.
That's cool. But like, I mean, dude, like, seriously, guys, like, that's a big deal. Having this guy back home. EC3 was fucking on. He was on another level when he was in Impact Wrestling. And I thought we were getting that WWE, but you know how that works out, guys. I'm sorry, Matt.
No, it's fine. You guys had some great points there.
Looking at the list, the other person, and I wouldn't be as excited about it. I agree. I think that would be the better choice. But I was looking through the list earlier, and I also thought Mr. Anderson would be a surprise too, because he's one I don't think they teased as much. Personally, only because I don't feel like he has this. And here's the thing where I feel like when you look back and you're dedicated to the history of Impact Wrestling, EC3 was someone that was made by Impact Wrestling. Mr. Anderson, however, really made his name in WWE and then came over. Personally, I feel it would be a better business decision to double down on your own self-made history. And this is where, they should, be thinking more like Vince in the way of you want to put your own business, ahead. And since EC3 was really an Impact made guy, I think that does make the most sense as far as that.
If they do, Matt and Doc, if they do the whole Dixie Carter teasing something's coming, we're teasing the greatest thing, and a fat Tito Ortiz walks out again, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Just throwing out a couple of other names just to spitball real quick since we're on the subject. I have the list pulled up here. And I don't know where some of these guys are. James Storm is maybe another one. I know he was an Impact made guy. I don't know if that would, have as much relevance nowadays. Austin Aries would certainly be a surprise given the way he exited a while back. But, that would also be something I think might get people stirred up. Bully Ray maybe too. He had a pretty good run. So I'm just going through here and thinking who might, be able to have that. Now, I don't foresee it happening, but if heaven forbid, and because I always am big on cross promotion. If somehow, some way the stars aligned and they were able to work out some kind of program with bringing in Nick Aldis or Magnus, that would be really
cool.
I don't foresee that happening. Don't get me wrong, but that would be something that I feel like it would benefit both companies in one of those situations where everybody kind of gets elevated. The hard part is who goes over. But
don't forget, Billy Corgan was kind of fucked by Impact Wrestling, TNA. I know Dixie Carter is not running it anymore. She does still have a small percentage of the company, but I don't know if Billy Corgan would allow his champion to wrestle in that main event because of the past. I think they want to create their own identity. I would love it, dude. I'll be honest with you. I would absolutely love it. I think Nick Aldis should have been in the WWE 5 years ago, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that's just my humble opinion. Would it be cool if Nick Aldis jumped? Could you imagine Nick Aldis coming out with the NWA title, winning both titles, and then defending both titles on YouTube, on TV, cross promotion? Maybe Billy Corgan comes out on some. Maybe Billy Corgan comes out and he's angry about the way he was treated by TNA Wrestling, and he brings some type of an invasion angle over. So now you have two of these rosters working together, and all of a sudden you have whoever wrestling, and then Mr. Anderson comes out and interferes in the match, or whomever is on the NWA roster. Anderson. Dude, you can go, but
there's a lot of cool possibilities you could do with that,
and especially now,
it's way more intriguing, I feel like, than anything else going on, really.
And especially now, I mean, we're not, what are they really doing right now on YouTube? Well, what are the numbers? You guys know? Have any idea?
Well, their YouTube numbers are steadily around somewhere between 50 to 100,000 in regards to their lowest to top end videos.
That's not great. So they're not getting monetized to the point where the boys are probably making more money off their merchandise, which, let's be honest. Come on, guys. I love Nick Aldis, but how many Nick Aldis shirts do you see out there?
I have one in my closet. That's about it, probably.
Of course you do. So what I'm saying is that I think it would benefit both companies. And Doc, that's a great point.
So this is a random. I'm spitballing here. So your first thought was the invasion angle, which I love. My first thought, it actually lend itself to you have Moose as the quote unquote TNA champion. Say you bring Nick Aldis, it looks like he might unify the belts, but I think that might be where maybe you could throw in a swerve and have one of the other guys win, but then Nick Aldis wants to go on and challenge again one-on-one for the title, and then Moose throws his name in the hat, and you possibly could have some kind of three-way match where all three titles on the line, either in a single fall or each title defended in three separate falls. Now I'm getting kind of crazy booking there, but that
cool.
would be possible. And Moose would basically be the one to interfere himself, like I'm the real champion here, and then you have the contingent of who's the real world champion. And I'm spitballing, but I think there's so many possibilities. Actually, to be honest, I think I like your idea better because I think the invasion angle it's very reminiscent of the NWO style, but different, very different. And I think something like that, like two companies having to fight each other is a cool idea, and it hasn't been done in a while, and it'd be a different way to do it.
Gentlemen, I have to step away for literally 2 seconds. All right.
Okay.
So if you guys can continue, I'll be right back. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I just want to re-clarify as well. Their average YouTube numbers are between about 100,000 to 200,000 because their highest is about 225,000. So I want to give them credit there. Also, I wanted to bring in some breaking news here, and I wanted to channel the Monday Morning Locker Room Ted. I heard that Dixie Carter was potentially going to be changing her first name. Because Dixie, as we know, is associated with Southern pride. Now, right now, based upon all the political aspects that are going around, she is going to drop Dixie and simply be known as the Carter. However, Jay-Z and Beyonce then responded to her and said, nah, we run this town. So
Was that a joke or that really happened?
That was my joke. That was my Monday morning monologue attempt.
Hey, MSG, so much is going on right now. Nothing. It would not surprise me. It's sad to say.
That was my Monday morning attempt once you were talking about Dixie.
I like it, but it literally took me a second to think. Okay, is this for real or is this a joke? But I like that though.
Well, before we get into Impact Wrestling, now the first match tonight we had Chris Bay with Johnny Swinger taking on Suicide. So we've got Bay kind of forcing Suicide in the corner to get the match going, stomps him out, flips over him, dances a little bit.
Is interesting. Now this is an old wrestling thing, but the way I was trained by Rip picked up right away. Chris, so when you kick in wrestling, the way, at least in the United States, that you're traditionally trained is you always kick right-footed. And I noticed that Chris Bay immediately started kicking left-footed. So I would have loved, and again, I don't know how many people would have really picked up on it, but it would have been really highbrow to hear Johnny Swinger at that point goes, no, kick him with the right foot. It works better, or something like that. Like I was waiting, I was listening for it. I didn't hear it, but because the first thing I thought of is, he's kicking him left-footed, which old vets will throw their hands up and be like, what the hell was that? And to me, it's fine as long as, it looks good, whatever. But it was a little thing that I noticed. But I did love Swinger yelling the whole time because I felt like that, again, it was showing that character and keep trying to, poke the bear, so to speak, trying to get heat during the match on behalf of Chris Bay. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, so Bay, he tries to hit a standing moonsault to start off, but Suicide moves out of the way, lands on his feet, trips Bay. Suicide releases an atomic drop. Suicide crushes Bay with an electric chair drop, and then he tries to hit a springboard moonsault, but Bay manages to get out of the way by putting his knees up. Conclusion of this match, we see Suicide hit a splash to the outside. Suicide then lands a modified suplex. Bay fakes a leg injury, and while the referee is distracted, Swinger pushes Bay off the top rope. Suicide lands on the top rope. Bay hits the finish for the win. And the winner of this match was Chris Bay. And they were kind of excited afterwards. Yeah, see, Daddy, I told you. I'm going to make you the champ. Big Ray, what did you think of Chris Bay? I mean, have you been following a lot of him?
All right. So mind you, I haven't watched Impact Wrestling in months. As a matter of fact, when I stopped watching Impact Wrestling, the North had just won the tag team titles.
It was last year. They're longest champs now.
Right. Exactly. So with that being said, I just need everybody to understand that I've seen an evolution of this TV product. Okay. And there are names and faces here that are the same and some that are not the same. And I'm going to give you my opinion on these. Now, Chris Bay being one that I like the kid. And these are things that I look at when I see a new talent on TV. Facial expressions, move set, how they're making the opponent look, so on and so forth. And I think Chris Bay has the potential to be a nice X Division single star moving forward. I think the kid is got it. Everything from let's say the way he took a backdrop, and he would just kind of hit the canvas and pop up and just kind of his eyes wide open, right in the camera, like these facial expressions he was making. Not everybody does that nowadays. It's a lost art, and Ben talks about it. And again, we go back to characters. So Chris Bay was actually great. Who's playing Suicide right now? Is it Colony still? Colony?
We don't know. Like the first week we thought it was low key. The first week we thought it was low key because he hit the double foot stomp as his finisher, and that's low keys. Right. But then the next week it's been a different person. So we don't. I mean, there hasn't been really.
I believe it's. I think it's Caleb Conley.
Caleb Conley, right? Caleb
Conley.
I think that's who's under the hood.
Right. What did I say? Colin? I'm thinking about Colin Weissong. Colin.
Yeah, you really like to get it in with Colin Weissong, don't you? You put him under a mask, huh?
You have no idea.
I bet you weirdo.
You have absolutely no idea. But no, the kid is great. This was what I usually call a typical X Division match, you know, where the guys are getting their spots in, but there was a lot of character work here done by Mr. Bay. And I think the kid has pretty good future, man, if he continues down this path.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Chris Bay. I've been pretty high on Chris Bay since his initial debut. Of course, I've called, which is on, you can go find out on Indie Wrestling TV. I've called Chris Bay matches. So like, I'm a big fan of Chris Bay himself. You know, I think he's just the whole package right now as a young man. He's going to continue to evolve. And I think the only thing, if he is going to need to work on, and I think every performer constantly needs to work on this, no matter what, even The Rock, you need to constantly work on your communication skills and just delivering your lines or delivering your point of story and what you're trying to get across. So everybody needs to do that. No matter who you are, low, high on the totem pole, you're always wanting to continue to get training and education on how to act or perform in front of an audience, or in this case, not on a camera. So Dr. B, what did you think of this match? How did you think of Chris Bay, Suicide? I know Big Ray, before you came on, Dr. B was putting over, of course, Johnny Swinger and some of the stuff he was doing in the match.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the match itself was fine, and I'm glad they had character work. I personally would have liked to see, this is just maybe my old school thinking. I would have liked to have seen I'm fine with the X Division stuff. I would have liked to have seen them cut out a few of the things and instead maybe work in more character spots to keep re-educating the audience on the relationship between Chris Bay and Johnny Swinger. And again, I like that Johnny Swinger was yelling shit during the match. But even just little moments where Swinger's trying to coach him. And to me, the story is, as Johnny Swinger's riding Chris Bay's coattails. Like, Chris Bay has it, but Swinger's trying to ride his coattails. So I would have had moments where Swinger's trying to act like he's Chris Bay's coach and gets Chris Bay's attention, which then allows Suicide to get back on top. So Chris Bay clearly, looks like he can put Suicide away. But every time, Johnny Swinger tries to coach him, something happens. Because, again, think about this. And I think, it's part of the character Johnny Swinger's playing. What do you think an old school grizzled vet would say if he were to sit down and watch a quick X Division style match? What would an old vet say?
An old vet?
Yeah, just one of these old timers. What do you think in general?
Oh, geez. I mean, I could hear Rip Rogers calling it flippity shit, or just.
Yeah,
I don't, just spots, too many spots, and all this.
Yeah, or like too much. Yeah, just slow down.
Much.
I feel like Swinger on the outside should have been playing into that. Be like, slow down. Hey, grab a hold, brother. Sell some T-shirts, Daddy. There you go. Slow it down. And then when Chris Bay grabs a hold, he's like, okay. And then Suicide, then fuck that. Boom, bam, boom, and Suicide does all the quick shit and gets back on top. And I think that could have told a little more of the story. So they're still getting the X Division shit in, but they're putting over the relationship between Swinger and Chris Bay more as well. And again, that's me being nitpicky. I don't think it was bad. I think the business got over, but that was just a little nuances I think could have added to it.
I like that idea, and I know the Stooges are out there, so listen to this one, okay?
Yeah.
What if, and again, I'm bouncing off of this is your idea. Right. What if you have Chris Bay hold that arm lock for 5 minutes on the mat?
I love it. Now, I don't know from a television flipping standpoint, that's as good. Now, that's something I feel like it would serve itself better like on a house show than TV, only because of you want people to tune in and not flip.
But I love it. But this is where Johnny Swinger's character comes into it. Sure. So while he's holding, let's say, whoever his opponent is in a side headlock on the mat, where he's telling him, "Daddy, slow it down," he goes under the ring and starts pulling out merch, and starts, hey, Daddy, we got this. And he's not only, but he's supposed to be putting up he's selling his own merch. He's putting, because what do old veterans do? You know what I'm saying? Well, a lot of old you're looking to still hold your spot. You're looking to still make your money. So it'd be funny if he holds up one Chris Bay t-shirt or whatever, or a fucking Chris Bay pencil, and then he pulls out a big fucking luggage thing, and he's fucking, putting up his t-shirts and his posters and everything, and talking in the camera. In the background, you see this kid still holding that arm lock, and you got Johnny Swinger in the camera. Hey, Daddy, go to my ProWrestlingTees.com store. You can get a Johnny Swinger, whatever, jock strap or whatever. Dude, it doesn't have to be every week.
100%, yes.
Then what can happen from there is, okay, you have a backstage segment after the match. Eventually, this goes on for a couple of weeks, and Chris Bay is getting annoyed because he ain't making no money, and he's not getting his shit in. And he's telling the old guy, hey man, during this whole match, I'm not getting any shine, and that can cause a little friction between them. And you can develop. It could be a beautiful tree. You can develop it, and the fruits of this storyline can go in so many different ways, man.
And the thing is, I bet they would sell a ton. I bet they'd be some of the top merch sellers right after doing that shit. That's awesome. No, you sold me, because at first I thought, no, you can't. I like the idea of sitting in a hole and the audience is just pissed off, but on TV. But you're right. When you have Swinger come in and do the thing, that keeps the audience's attention, and that's beautiful. I love it. It's one of those things where I hope they hear it and I hope they steal it, because it's that good. I want to see it happen.
I hope this, but remember the whole time Chris Bay because Chris Bay has I really looked at this kid a lot. He has great facial expressions. So he has the dude in the arm lock, and he's kind of giving that face like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be coaching me and you're selling your fucking merch. I don't know. I think it might. So,
or I'd like that too. And it could even go the other way where it's Johnny Swinger's idea. He's like, hey, put him in the hold, but don't tap him out yet. I got an idea. Let's sell some merchandise. And then at first he does it, altruistically. He does it for Chris Bay. And then after a couple of weeks, he's like, I'm going to start sneaking my own stuff in. And then Chris Bay says, what the hell? And that could get him the roll up 1, 2, 3. And then it's like, what the fuck? Not only are you selling your shit, but you made me lose. Then that could create an issue there. But that's just another, again, there's always different options. I'm not saying one way is better than the other, but it's a great story though. I love that little spin on it.
Hey Maddie, if you send a clip where they put it on YouTube, or if you send a clip where they put it up on our Instagram and stuff like that, take this clip out so that the Stooges can see it, because I got to tell you something. I think that storyline would not only get Chris Bay over, I think it'd get the Johnny Swinger thing over, and I think moving forward they could have something special, and you make money. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, the Impact Wrestling is taped ahead, right? So at this point, we don't. For all we know, they could be breaking up at the pay-per-view, like Ultimate, or Chris Bay could lose that X Division Championship match and then blame Johnny Swinger, and they spin off from there. So, but I definitely will. Of course, this will be up on our YouTube, so our clip guys, Kaz or Plaja or myself, can go ahead and get that taken care of. Backstage, though, we got Madison Rayne and Matthews running down the card tonight.
Real quick. Last thing, Chris Bay did something really awesome at the end of that match. He did the finish, and then he turned towards the hard cam before he pinned him. Small detail, but someone that's as new to the business as Chris Bay, I would not expect that little nuance, especially to know how to work TV and work towards the hard cam. That was just one of those little things that tells me he's putting in the practice, he's putting in the time. Because when you pick up on those little details, it shows that you're doing your homework. So kudos to Chris Bay.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, Chris Bay trained by Disco Inferno and Future Stars Wrestling out in Vegas. So those guys, are trained for television there. If they want to. I mean, from what we've heard, Disco is like, I work with guys who want to be worked with, and if you don't want me to work with you, then I'm not going to give you my info. So, Chris Bay is soaking up that information. Backstage now, we've got Gia Miller interviewing Moose before he defends his championship tonight against Crazy Steve. And he informed Steve's that fun and games didn't get him anywhere. It was hard work that did. Big Ray, I want to get into your thoughts on Moose here, but before we do that, we've got a limited amount of time left with the doctor today. I want to get into this next match. Before doing that, I just to kind of wrap up the Johnny Swinger and Chris Bay talk. They also went to a backstage segment there where Swinger says he's so proud of Bay for winning his match. He says after what he did tonight, there's no way he won't become the new X Division champion at Slammiversary. He talks about how he's got the referees in his pocket. He's like, don't worry, Daddy, I'll pay him up. I'll take care of it. Those guys are idiots. They're stooges anyway. And one of the referees does hear him as Brandon Tolley comes in and informs him that Swinger is going to be banned from ringside now. So Johnny Swinger eventually will have to try and figure something out to, I guess, try to influence that match. What did you think of this backstage interaction, Ray?
I thought it was great. And the first thing I said to myself was, cool. All right, Johnny Swinger is banned. Doesn't mean he can't be in the side, holding the camera with a mustache on, which would be hilarious.
He could be out in the audience, right?
Absolutely. Which again, you're getting your comedy spots in. You're getting the kid over. Johnny Swinger's character is getting over, and it's a fun fucking segment because Johnny Swinger is not going to be there. So the entire match, you are waiting for the moment that Johnny Swinger is going to pull. It's Johnny Swinger. For some reason, in the world of wrestling, the referee has no idea it's Johnny Swinger. Chris Bay has no idea it's Johnny. Nobody knows it except for us in the audience. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys watch baseball, but the Mets, by the way, are absolutely terrible. I hate the Mets. I'm a Yankees fan, but neither here nor there. They had a manager,
Bobby
but
Bonilla made $1 million today.
that's right. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day to the New York Mets.
It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
You fucking jobbers. But listen, they had a manager. His name was Bobby Valentine. He got ejected from the game, and this is legit. Go to YouTube. Anyway, Bobby Valentine changes out of his uniform, puts on a T-shirt, and then puts on a Tom Selleck mustache with sunglasses, much like the doc here. And he's sitting in the dugout, and like nobody notices him except for the broadcasters. And he gets fined eventually down the line, and he's suspended for some time. But this is what I want to see, man. This is the fun thing in wrestling. Yeah. All right, SmackDown, you got Bailey and Boss Time and all that shit. Yeah, okay, fine. But this can be fun. Don't do that here. Don't do that. Don't Matt, don't do that here, please. I got away from that. Just okay. Anyway, so that's what I want to see. What do you think,
Dr. B?
So this goes. I'm really hoping. I do like that idea of Swinger can be involved in a different way. A couple weeks ago, though, what I had pitched based on what it seemed like they were setting up. So and this goes back to you. Probably didn't see what has happened with Willie Mack in recent weeks, but he has recently allowed himself with the Deaners, and they've started to have issues with Swinger and Chris Bay. So it led me to believe that there probably is going to be another party that's going to make their way into this somehow and eventually lead to a 6-man tag match with Willie Mack and the Deaners against Chris Bay, Swinger, and a third party. And who I would like to see, although they did something just a couple months ago with them, but someone that has history with both Chris Bay and Swinger would be one Disco Inferno. And I think that would potentially be, and I think, especially to put them, because it's one thing to be trained by Disco, but to actually have a chance to get in the ring and work with programs alongside of them, that's only going to help Chris Bay that much more. And I think that would be a really entertaining program to see those personalities kind of come together. So to that point, I don't know if that's going to happen, but my initial thoughts are maybe this is the opportunity for them to officially bring in Disco as a more full-time member of the roster and do a little team together with Swinger and Chris Bay. And obviously the dichotomy of characters, I think, could make for some really entertaining pre-tapes.
You got your 70s, you got your 80s, wrestling gimmicks. That works, man, for me.
Yeah.
Well, up after that, guys, next tag team match here, we had Reno Scum taking on Falaba and TJP. Now, these two tag teams, they went back and forth. Reno Scum attacked Falaba and TJP from behind before the bell even rang. Ba got up and went in for clothesline on Luster the Legend. Clothesline doesn't move Luster at all. Luster goes for a clothesline of his own on Ba. Nothing happens. TJP does make a save, and then TJP and Ba land right on top of Luster with a splash. TJP then becomes the legal man, lands a nice uppercut before getting attacked by Adam Thorsto on the outside, and then Thorsto throws TJP back in the ring. Conclusion of the match, we end up seeing TJP throw Thorsto into Ba, who slams him with the Samoan drop. TJP flies off the top rope with the Mamba Splash, rest in peace Kobe, and then go for the final cover and pick up the win. So the winner of this match, followed by TJP. Dr. Medium XL, your thoughts, sir?
Well, of course, my team TJP and Falaba, if they want to continue the undefeated streak, they just need to call me, and this is only the beginning, fellas. But in all seriousness, a couple things. I thought this was a fine, fast-paced match. That they did cut him off the start, which I thought it wasn't the same, but I did feel it was similar to the way Chris Bay jump start Suicide as well. So I maybe would have liked to have seen. It doesn't mean they couldn't jump start, but I would have maybe liked to see a little nuance that would have either been different or lent itself more to it being a tag team match versus just a straight singles match. And so my initial thought was maybe they could have done something instead of just jumping them. Is one of Reno Scum comes up from behind when TJP was on the buckle and posing to the non-existent audience and just push him. And then he could have taken a bump from the buckle down the floor, followed by turns around like, what the fuck happened? And then they could have double teamed, followed by, and then more of the tag team thing, referee gets him back. And then it still serves the same master of jump starting the match, but in a way that it more works the gimmick of it being a tag team match and it being, again, a little more nuanced and different than just cutting them off like we saw in the first match. But again, that's me being nitpicky. It doesn't mean it was bad. The business was still there. And the other thing I wrote is I do want to know more, and that's why I wanted to do extra medium Ted McNaylor coming behind him, because I want to know more about the characters TJP and Falaba. Now, MSG, you've been watching. What is the relationship between these two? Why do they come together as a tag team? Do we know, or are they just one guy's big, one guy's little, and they both like wearing black and yellow because so far that's about as all of their personalities I know is one big's one little, and they wear black and yellow, and that's about it.
So upon the initial creation of this team, it was, I think, I mean, Impact never really like put them together and we're like, well, we're going to put these two guys together because they're Filipino. But that is how TJP and him kind of represented themselves at the onset of this tag team, as they were going to be the first.
That illustrates that to the fans, though. Like
well, at the beginning, they were trying to illustrate them to be the first ever Filipino tag team champions, and they still haven't captured that. But they also, you're right, they kind of really dropped off because at first they were pushing a lot of the Pinoy stuff. I've got a lot of Filipino friends, so like I was asking them certain things and blah blah, like how they, it's cool because we're doing different gimmicks and segments and whatnot. But yeah, I mean that's a good point. Over the last month or so, or even since you started joining us, they haven't really examined that relationship further of why the dynamic of the tag team itself.
And to that point, it's like you could do all the wrestling you want, but imagine if we would have had just 30 to 60 second pre-tapes over the last 3 weeks about TJP and Fallah Bahh, getting on a game plan, getting together, seeing a little bit of their personalities. And then this week we see this win. To me, like something as small as that would have gotten their personalities over, would have been an opportunity for fans to become more endeared with them as characters and thus be more willing to invest their hard-earned time and money to want to see them. And then this win that was here, which was fine. It was a good win for them as a team, but I felt like it didn't mean as much because I don't know who the hell they are as characters. I don't know who they are as people or personalities because we just don't have an opportunity to see that as much. And I'm not necessarily knocking them. I mean, they have a lot going on the roster, but I feel like, when you're going to have a team, do a piece of business right here to get them over, the setup's just as important. I think if they would have just done a little character work in the weeks prior to this and then they won here, hey, that would have really meant something. Hey, then it looks like TJP and Fallah Bahh, maybe they really are getting behind them as a tag team because now we're seeing that they're investing time and energy into exploring who they are as people and why we should care about them winning.
It's sad because the one thing I took out of this whole tag team match is Fallah Bahh's wearing boots. What the fuck? When did he start doing that, Matt?
I didn't notice that. But
yeah, I would say probably within the last month.
Was there like a reason for that, or he just started wearing boots?
He just started wearing
boots. Opportunity right there could have been TJP's like, hey man, you really hurt your ankle. Why don't you get some boots? And it doesn't have to be as cheesy as that, but make some reason why that happened.
Because
when you explain why, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's almost like, all right, so Kevin Von Erich always wrestled barefoot, and then all of a sudden one day he comes to the ring and he's wearing a pair of gym sneakers. Dude, why? Right. Like, that's the first thing I thought, dude. I'm like, what's the reason? I tried Googling it. Nothing. And I was like, all right, opportunity lost. So see, guys, that's like something like that, guys. You may think it's not a big deal, but Fallah Bahh had the whole what do you call it? Not samurai, sumo gimmick, barefoot, coming to the ring. Now, I don't know. Why is he wearing boots? Isn't that bad? Isn't that sad, Doc and Matt, that this was a decent match, but that's what I was focusing on? During the match, I'm Googling, why is this dude wearing boots? I'm just saying, dude. Anyway.
No, but you're right. And if you were thinking it, I'm sure other people were too. And it's where you got those little details, they can be very meaningful. And so you're right. I'm not saying it would have been, it probably wouldn't have been an Austin 316 moment for Fallah Bahh, like, put the boots on and everyone just goes and buys the new Fallah Bahh boots. But at the same time, it was still an opportunity for character development and thus giving people just a little subtext as to, who these people are as people and thus giving us more reasons to care about them. So, yeah, I agree. They should have had some explanation, even if it was just a small one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we move on, Dr. B, do you have to slip out here and take care of some patients?
I called my guys. I said, as soon as we talk about TJP and Fallah Bahh, I was going to let them know I put them over and I'm ready to talk business. So I'm going to call my guys. You all do a great rest of the show, and I'll see you all next week. Big Ray, it's been awesome getting a chance to have a dollar with you, man. I definitely need to hook up with you again and hopefully be on a Smack Attack soon.
No, but what? But you're really leaving?
He's leaving.
Yeah, I got to go. My guys, I'll see you all on Impact next week. See you guys.
Oh, no. Oh.
He's gone.
He's gone.
And then it was us.
It was the two of us.
We
And
Now that
then
the
there were
pros
two.
are
Oh,
gone,
shit.
we can be stupid.
I'll tell you what. I almost lost my laptop because my cup of coffee, I knocked it, and I did this gimmick where I kind of put my hand underneath it just before it totally tipped all over my laptop right now. So let me just move this cup as far away from possible. So, dude, I got to tell you, it was fun doing the show with Ted. Ben, I don't know what the hell happened. I have a feeling again, him and Sammy Callahan are, doing some underhanded shit. I was gonna record right after this, but I'm taking a break. Me and Colin are gonna be recording tonight instead because we're debuting our new podcast on another platform. I'll get into that later, but we got a lot of show to talk about, my friends. So what do you got going on, brother?
Well, up
brother?
next was locker room talk with Madison Rain and Johnny Swinger. So we had a conversation before we started. You are not a fan of Madison Rain on commentary. Give
No.
me your thoughts, Big Ray.
I have to be careful because I have a pretty decent rapport with Josh Matthews. But God, I don't know, dude. I can't stand to hear her voice. I don't know what it is. But you know what? Maybe she's doing her job because she is playing the heel during the commentary, and I think we're not supposed to like her. But certain people, when they do, like, all right, so say what you will about Renee Young, but well, you know what? That's a bad example because she sucks too. I'm trying to think of a female play-by-play person. I can't think of one, and I don't want to come off as sexist because that's definitely not me, baby. I love all the ladies, but
Like
I
sex?
just what's that?
You like sex?
Oh, a little bit here and there when I can get it. But all jokes aside, man, like it was just like because Josh Matthews is so polished, he has such a rich voice, and him and Cyrus. Remember, this is the last time I was listening.
Right.
I love their rapport. I love Cyrus's voice. I think they were like peanut butter and jelly, and then you get peanut butter and mayonnaise here. It just doesn't sound right. Doesn't taste. It smells a little funny. It tastes weird. So no, not a fan of Madison Rain, but I understand why they're doing it.
Like I like the dynamic that they have between their commentary. I think they kind of grow on you. I could definitely see how it's jarring, but as you continue to listen to them week after week, their chemistry is really good because they pretend they're not together on television. So Madison Rain constantly will bag on Josh Matthews like he's a nerd or he can't get any action with a female. So that their kind of chemistry together, I think, is what's really good. I don't know if really Josh Matthews didn't put it over too much here, but in the last couple of weeks, him and Madison will have been like arguing back and forth over the Moose situation because Josh has done these sit down interviews with Moose and he's like trying to be like, professional, but also not to get his ass kicked by Moose and by telling him that that's a made up title. You're not a champion. You know what I mean? So like, and you've got Madison defending him. So these two have like this great chemistry where where he's more or less defending the babies and she's defending the heels. So I kind of think there's a good relationship there.
I get it, but are they pretending they're not married?
Yeah, they pretend they're not married. It's kind of funny.
Even though they opened the show in the same house, standing by a fireplace.
Yep, it's great.
With the impact. Okay, I get it. All right, I get it. Listen, like I said, is she doing her job as a heel, as a commentator? Absolutely, because I couldn't stand listening to her. But yeah, let me just not go into anymore.
All right.
That's just how I felt.
Well, let's talk about locker room talk then, as we've got another Johnny Swinger segment back to back here after another match. We have Rain and Swinger sitting down. So their dichotomy here is, of course, Madison Rain is the host of the talk show, and Johnny Swinger is her co-host. And this guest for this week was Johnny Bravo. Now, Rain wants to know the big question to Johnny Bravo about his relationship with Rosemary. I sent you this text. You haven't watched Impact in a while. The ongoing storyline right now is Rosemary is trying to, you might say, manipulate or put the leash on Bravo and make Bravo her pet. And based on some previous dates, they had some Impact Wrestling outings and dates before the whole coronavirus thing and whatnot. There seems to be some sort of attraction between the two. However, Johnny Bravo, at a moment's notice, which they've shown, will drop everything he has to do to go speak with Taya or help Taya.
Right.
In this case, we have Taya. She actually interjects in this. Well, I'm skipping ahead first. Johnny Swinger and Johnny Bravo kind of get into it, where Johnny Swinger, Madison Rain's asking the question, and Johnny Swinger thinks Madison's asking him the question. He's like, yeah,
Right.
I think Rosemary's a good, good looking lady, and I'm kind of into chicks with makeup.
I know one of the things he said was, we can feel the sexual tension. We could cut it like a knife. What is it? A knife chop or whatever the fuck he said. And that made me laugh. Because, his character is one that he's arrogant. He thinks it's all about him. He's still living in the 80s. And of course, he would think that she's attracted to him, not the guy that's sitting. I'm happy to see Johnny remember where he came from, starting as a referee when we had him on, I believe here, the Impact Attack, when we interviewed him. And thanks, big shout out to Tommy Wonder for hooking up that interview. They're good friends from many, many years ago. They worked a lot of territories together. I had done some research, and Johnny is a good wrestler, and he has a lot of character. And now we're getting to see it. And again, now put yourself in my shoes, guys. I haven't watched Impact in forever. So the last time I seen Rosemary, she had just gotten off the Demon Bunny gimmick, where she had basically where Allie died. Her and the devil, what's his name?
Sue Young and James Mitchell.
Like, it was some deep, dark shit, brother. But now we have a different demon, an adorable demon, if I would. So it was kind of like a shock for me. Because, and I met her. I don't know. You remember I met her in Times Square? I'm just walking down, and her and Allie just kind of just like walking around and shit. I'm like, and she lives a gimmick, guys. Her face paint was on, like, not like that, but she had the crazy eye makeup and the contacts in her eyes. Sweet as pie. So yeah, man.
She's got some sweet pie.
Oh, she's got some sweet pies. I got a little hug on her. I got a little hug on Allie, but I don't know.
It's just Mary, so, yeah.
Something about zombie chicks that I'm digging.
Ooh.
But yeah, man. I love this segment. Almost called you Colin there. This close. I swear to God. Almost, dude.
Call over. You're off the call.
I'm sorry.
It's right.
I do 2 shows with him. What do you want me to do?
I know. Well, Rain continues to clarify that because Johnny Swinger thinks she's talking about him. And Rain clarifies, no, you idiot. I'm talking, of course, about Rosemary and Johnny Bravo. And just as kind of Johnny Bravo was put on the spot about the whole relationship, Tayo then runs in looking for Johnny Bravo, and so she's been looking for him all over, makes him get out of the way, and then cuddles up to her new best friend, which you didn't know about either.
No.
Her and Rosemary are now gal pals. And that stems back, of course, from the kind of Real Housewives of Hollywood parody they were doing, where Taya invited Rosemary over to this gal pal type party. And then Rosemary was like, this is kind of boring. Let's go do my thing. And then Rosemary takes Taya with her clubbing, and the other girls end up getting freaked out because they're just, regular housewife chicks. But her and Rosemary end up dancing. Rosemary gets hit on by a guy. She unleashes her demon. The after effects come out, and the demon scares the whole club and all this other crazy stuff. And then Taya was kind of like, I kind of like this. Like,
is this on YouTube?
I'm sure you could find it. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back because this shit sounds like really like
it was
fun.
Good because the way they were setting it up every week was Rosemary was in a bar. That's how her thing was going on. And she was in a bar reading tarot cards and just kind of going off that. And that's how this all evolved. And they kind of became friends and whatnot. So now that you're all caught up there, but yeah, this was a good segment. It gets announced that Taya has asked Rosemary to be her tag team partner, or I guess one of her partners in the upcoming battle royale for the championship tournament that's going to take place at Impact. Basically saying, hey, will you watch my back? I'll watch yours, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So this was a good backstage segment as they walked off. And, there was a little bit, as you mentioned, of animosity between Johnny Bravo and Johnny Swinger there at the conclusion of this segment as well. So maybe they'll be setting that up somewhere along the line. But that was a good segment. You put it over. I liked it as well. After the break, the North says they're going to address why they attacked Ken Shamrock. And then before the North do discuss their attack on Ken Shamrock, we see a recap of Deonna Purrazzo's debut match against Alicia Edwards from last week, bro. That was her debut. Alicia Edwards, okay, who by the way, she's pretty much been gone since you've been gone, okay, and yes, and then she cuts this promo, dude.
No way.
Okay, so Deonna Purrazzo is backstage with the interview, okay, and at the interview, look, if you're looking at me, and the interview is right here, and I'm right here, and I'm talking, right? Normally you face the camera, right? Or if the interview's here, I'd be talking like this, I'd be like blah 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 blah. But here's how Alicia Edwards comes up and talks to the interview. You know what? I think blah, 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 blah. So she had her back turned the whole time as she's cutting this promo back and forth. And, and then they get in the ring and Deonna squashes her. But so that was last week's debut match for Deonna Purrazzo. She also did a gimmick with the Busted Open radio people, Dave LaGreca and Tommy Dreamer.
Did I tell you how much I cannot stand, with all due respect to Eddie, Alicia Edwards in the ring, around the ring, backstage? Oh my God, big thunderstorm coming. I gotta go out and pick up something. But I mean, she is just absolutely. So basically, she doesn't know a hard cam.
No, she doesn't know how to work the cam. She doesn't know how to stand for a basic interview. You know what I mean? Like, even if you were standing on, like, if a news reporter was interviewing you, the news reporter would be like, "Okay, stand here. I'm gonna stand here. Take the shot." You know what I mean? So like, they didn't even do that basic production. Yeah. Anyway, so that was what the recap on Down on Pro. Just kind of giving you a recap on that. But we then moved into Josh Alexander and the North. So here's something I brought up 2 weeks ago, and you'll appreciate this. Okay. The North faced 2 weeks ago the Rascals, and they defended the tag team championship. And it was about a year to the day the last time they had the feud. Remember, LAX left. We put over the fact we wanted to see the Rascals come in and pick up the victory, and they didn't win. So 1 year later, they didn't tell that story. They didn't even talk about it. And then the North won again. So yes, they are still your champs after 1 year.
I couldn't believe that they were still holding the titles. And I say, wait a second. I haven't watched this shit in months. And these guys, so again, yeah, I stopped watching about a month or two after they won the title. So think about that, man. Think about, well, what's the total reign? Do you know? Did they put that over a year and a half, a year?
It's like a year or something. They haven't given us the days. They haven't really put over the days, or 400. They haven't done anything like that. 300 and some days. So, but yeah, they're the longest champ now. Ben kind of mentioned this at the top of the show, and he could at any point in time jump back in here because he's been Hamin. But he, in this segment, the North kind of buried Shamrock a little bit to start things off. They said that the world's dangerous man act, all the good things must come to an end. Ethan Page said that it must be hard for Shamrock to be liked in Impact since he doesn't seem to have any friends. Shamrock's music hits. He makes his way down to the ring. But before he can step into the ring, or as he steps into the ring, the ICU logo appears and Sami Callihan pops up on the screen, says, "Who needs friends when you've got an enemy?" The arena goes dark, and when the lights come back on, Callihan is standing side by side with Shamrock. Both men throw down the North out of the ring, and Callihan gives Shamrock the thumbs up, thumbs down gesture before lights go out, and he disappears again. So you haven't been watching Impact Wrestling. They've been doing a phenomenal job with the actual hacker gimmick. WWE doesn't know how to do it. They know how to do it. And also, Ben Hamin's put this over as for he kind of wrote a similar gimmick for Sami back in the day. Even sent me over the notes. I saw the whole 6 to 10 pages worth of content. Right. So, and there, of course, Sami and Ben are good friends dating back to the 2CW days and OVW days. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of history there. And I'm not saying Ben's like, pick up the phone and telling him what to do, but I'm sure if there was an idea that Sami had and he wanted to get Ben's opinion, there is that conversation here as well. But what did you think of Sami Callihan? It's the first time you haven't seen him. There's no OVE on this show, so I'm sure that was kind of shocking as well.
Yeah, again, OVE is going over strong. When I'm watching this, at the time I stopped watching. Madman Fulton was also with them. Madman Fulton was with them. Chris and both brothers. So it was good. It was good. There was nothing I didn't like about it. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I got it. Like, I figured it out. You know what I'm saying? And that's a testament to the way they're booking their show and the way other wrestling companies book their show. I've always enjoyed Impact Wrestling when it comes to the way they kind of put their shows together. The only time it was kind of shitty was when Hogan was there and Bischoff, and they were booking like some shitty WCW show. It was the worst. Aces and Eights was okay. But again, man, yeah, I'm interested. We get to the point where they jump Ken Shamrock already, right? So
they started to, and then Sami makes the save, right?
Right. So Sami comes and makes a save, and so it's cool because on two different levels. So yeah, so you got the bait. Well, I don't know if Sami's a baby face, but you get Ken Shamrock who gets helped out, okay, and then you got Sami Callihan, who you don't know where he lands. You don't know where he stands. You don't know what he's doing. Is he good? Is he bad? Thumbs up, thumbs down. 1 minute you're cool with him. Next minute, boom, he'll stab you in the back. I like that. The whole hacker gimmick, though, what exactly is he doing? Like, what is he hacking into?
So that itself, I would agree, hasn't necessarily been established as much.
Mhm.
You know, I've brought that up tons of times. I want to see his gimmick take over the show. Like, I want to see the show start off, or I want to see the show ending with Sammy pressing a button and we fade to black and we go out. Just, or you're in the Soprano style in the middle of the sentence, right? Like, I want to see Sammy be that hacker. Other than that, no, not necessarily, man. He's just kind of a hacker. You know, his gimmick itself, anything involved with his matches or what he does is more or less a hack type gimmick. But he hasn't really like impacted enough to where he's taking over the show. There's been a couple bits here, maybe a show or two, you know what I mean, where his stuff will pop up and his promo package invades, you know, in the middle of Josh Matthews talking or whatnot. The background here is interesting with Shamrock and Callahan because they did face off with Shamrock eventually putting Sami Callihan out by an ankle lock. It was very weird, man. He put him in an ankle lock and made Sami Callihan pass out from that. And then after, I believe it was Shamrock beat him, then now here we are where they're kind of like, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
The only thing I'll say, and this is from the minute I saw Sami Callihan on my TV screen, especially when he came into Impact Wrestling, because I was following before he unfortunately was given that very unfortunate watered down Solomon Crow character over at the WWE. But he came into Impact Wrestling, and I mean, everything from hitting Eddie Edwards by mistake with the baseball bat to the face, turning like that took, I think that mistake, remember I told you about Opportunity at the beginning of this podcast? That was a terrible mistake, but it made an opportunity for Sami Callihan. And Sami Callihan is so, and I don't know if he listens to this or not, but he's so brilliant. And every time I see him on my television, I'm like, all right, dude, who is that? Who is that guy? You know, there was a point that I thought Sammy was like 6'5". Think about that.
Right.
I thought he was 6'5" because he comes across, his character is bigger than his physical stature.
Right.
And that's not easy, dude. There's not a lot of people like you look at a Chris Benoit back in the day and Eddie Guerrero, you would think that these guys are like 6'3", 6'4". No, but their character is so big. The way they shoot him, you know, they usually shoot Sami Callihan up. I thought the guy was a fucking giant, and he is. He's a mental giant. He's a giant in the ring. I love the guy, and I love this. Like anything he's in, I'm invested in. So
well said. No, that's good stuff. Well, after that commercial break, more of the North. Speaking of continuing about Sami Callihan, Shamrock, they barge into Scott D'Amore's office and they complain the fact that they were attacked. They're like, we shouldn't have been attacked. You know, we weren't even in our ring gear. And Scott D'Amore's like, you know what? I agree. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and set up a tag team match where you guys can go ahead and defend the championships at Slammiversary against Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock. Great idea, guys. I like that. All right, let's do that. Then he leaves. So that's where we're going to be getting there. I guess we'll see where that goes. I don't expect them to put the titles on Shamrock and Callihan. That would be kind of shocking, but maybe they will, just to kind of throw a swerve or kind of a wrench, you know?
Hey, dude, before I left Washington, they had the belts on, who was it? Scott Steiner, and I forgot who his tag team partner was at the time. So, you know, if they can do that and that got over, why not?
Well, speaking of championships here, we have the TNA World Championship match that's going to be on the line. And before the title match, Jimmy Jacobs wants to get a quick word from Trey. Now, for the context and background here, man, Trey was initially beaten up by somebody and taken out of the Impact World Heavyweight Championship tournament. They were doing a full tournament to lead up, and the winner was going to face Tessa. And the winner of the tournament ended up being Ace Austin. So, but gets taken out because he got attacked by, I think God, I'm having a blank moment here. They revealed who it was.
Mhm.
Oh no, they did actually. I'm sorry. They never technically revealed who it was. They did the show and tell thing and made it insinuate that it was Madman Fulton.
Got it.
And that's how they lined up and became a clique. So before this title match, he wants to get his quick word before his main event with Madman Fulton. And Jacobs wants to know what his strategy is for tonight after finding out that Fulton was the one who attacked Trey these past 2 weeks. So they do tell you here. Trey says he's ready to tear them apart. So that was a quick little backstage segment to set up the main event. However, championship match. Well, if you want to call it that. Moose defending the TNA title against Crazy Steve. But technically Tessa's not here, so this is technically the only viable championship right now.
Hey, Maddie, by the way, now I remember it was Scott Steiner and Eli Drake, dummy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
If they can do that, why the hell can't they? Like, Ken Shamrock is in great shape. How's he moving, by the way, in the ring? How's he moving?
I mean, he looks good.
He looks pretty good. Nah, he could probably still go. If Ric Flair could do it, well, not everybody's Ric Flair, but anyway, yes, please continue. I apologize.
No, it's fine. So this match starts off. Moose sends. So by the way, Crazy Steve just came back like 4 weeks ago, just coming back. And as I mentioned to you, and for the viewers maybe who never haven't been watching Impact, or maybe you're listening now, Crazy Steve is part of this ongoing story now with Moose. He's been defeating prior TNA, wrestlers from Chase Stevens to Hernandez to Suicide, and now tonight he's taking on Crazy Steve. So Steve flies out of the ring only to be caught by Moose. Moose slams Steve on the apron. Moose grabs Steve, swings him into steel steps. Moose gets on the attack by going after Steve in his ribs, punching him there. Throws him back into the ring. These guys continue to go back and forth, inflicting more damage. Conclusion of the match, Steve and Moose exchange some shots in the middle of the ring. Steve rolls Moose up for a schoolboy pin, but only gets a 2 count. And then Moose catches Steve off the top rope, throws him halfway across the ring. Moose then lands the lights out, which is a spear, and then Moose pins Steve and retains the championships. The winner of this match was Moose.
Best spear in the business. Period. I don't think anybody does a spear like Moose.
Well, I will contend that spear that Jungle Boy hit last week on MJF was freaking fantastic. But you are right as far as a whole. I think.
Who are those guys you're talking about?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. Jungle Boy and MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, are part of the AEW roster.
What's that?
Well, AEW is a wrestling show. They have a weekly wrestling show called Dynamite. Now, each and every week, along with myself, Ben Hamin, and former NXT superstar Chris Silvio, we break it down. So if you'd like to check that out, check it out right here tomorrow on hackerhamin.podbean.com.
I'd probably rather listen to your podcast and watch the show. Can I just listen to the podcast and not have to watch that show?
That's fine. Or if you can probably do a watch along somewhere. I think Ben and Russo or whatever do watch alongs, and you have the audio down low, and you can just listen to the pros talk too.
That sounds like fun. I think I'm going to do that. Very cool.
Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. Check that out. What'd you think of this match, man?
Moose. The Moose. I thought it was good. Crazy Steve. Now you say to yourself, "Well, Crazy Steve is so small, blah 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 blah. Moose is so big." Hey,
that's what she
said. Well, that is what she said. But crazy people have crazy strength. They do crazy shit, and they make everything difficult. I could see how Crazy Steve made this shit like really, really tough for Moose. Crazy Steve is unorthodox. You don't know which way he's coming from. Like, they booked this match well. Okay. Moose looked fantastic. I think, and I just want to talk about Moose really quickly. Moose. When I stopped watching, his promos and his in-ring abilities had gone to another level. Now he's gone to the upper echelon, I think. I think he is a top-level guy. He's a guy that I could see on WWE TV. And the reason why I'm using WWE TV is because it's the number one. Okay, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. It's Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA. So do I think he's at that level? Absolutely. Does he have the size? Yes. Everything you need in Moose, fantastic.
Presentation.
Everything. I love the TNA gimmick because, again, we talked about a person being so arrogant that it's all about them, like Johnny Swinger. Same thing with Moose. You know, Moose is convinced he is the world heavyweight champion. But guess what? Why shouldn't he be? Hey, was he really given a shot to fight Tessa? Did he fight Tessa for that title? Nope. You think if Moose would have fought Tessa, he would have won? I think he would have. Moose never given a shot. So he carries that TNA title. By the way, Impact Wrestling, listen to me, please. If you're listening to me, is there any way you can keep the old TNA title and take the TNA off and put Impact? Because I have a replica of that belt. That is a championship belt. I love the new belt. It's a nice looking belt. But my God, yo, I'm serious. Matt, when I see Moose with that belt, I'm like, that is a champ. I got to close this window because it is raining cats, dogs, and ferrets out here. I'm in Manhattan. Hold on, New York.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. And okay. Anyway. So yeah, great points there. Moose has got the package 100%. The TNA title looks really good on him. So I agree. It could technically be the title. It looks better than the current title they have right now.
Agree. Yeah.
Fun fact, since you brought up the TNA title, he shared it on his Impact Wrestling shared it this week on their Twitter from when Chris Bay was a kid, and he might have been like 9 or 10 years old.
Mhm.
And for his birthday, he got a TNA replica title, and he had actually tweeted this out to Impact Wrestling at the time. And it was like, got my brand new TNA title, and he was excited. And now he's in TNA or he's in Impact. So I just thought that was a cool, full circle story for him.
I've done unboxings on stuff before. I don't have time to do a lot of video, but if you go to onewrestling.com, you just search TNA title unboxing. It's an old video. I was like 500 pounds there. I don't even look like the same guy, but I'll break. Yeah, that's how I sound walking around the house naked. That belt is beautiful, man. Redone, re-leathered with some nice Swarovski crystals. I can never say that name. I don't think there's a belt that's prettier. Maybe the New Japan Pro Wrestling title. Other than that, I think Impact should really think about going back to that belt, bro.
Well, after the match was more of the story, or I guess as Dr. Ted would point out, is where the business gets done as Moose keeps fighting over on Steve after the match. And then Tommy Dreamer and the rest of the doctors and referees come out. And Moose then, he kicks the shit out of Tommy Dreamer and leaves him laying in the ring bleeding. We go to commercial, and then we come back, and now Tommy Dreamer is standing in the ring. And he cuts a very powerful promo, very good promo. Of course, Tommy Dreamer, can't expect nothing less from a legend such as himself, basically calling out Moose. And I was a little disappointed because up until this point, we didn't know who this fourth man was going to be still. And I'm still hoping that Moose was going to be that guy. But it looks like we're going to be getting Tommy Dreamer and Moose at the Slammiversary.
Right. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not Moose, but yeah, I agree with you, man. Listen, I was at work watching this on Twitch, and by the way, big shout outs to my buddy Brian's wife, Melissa Santos. Dude, wow, I mean, so many virgins just, oh, we love you, Melissa, hugs and kisses. I'm like, shut the fuck up. She doesn't give. She's with the fucking real man. I'm just saying. But anyway, neither here nor there.
Shout out to Melissa Santos last night. Her lighting was excellent.
She looked beautiful.
She looked flawless. Like she looked amazing last night.
And by the way, yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you were on the Twitch stream, the part where Melissa Santos actually popped for it, where she was reading the comments and she put the phone down and laughed and picked it back up. And it was after the comment that I left at Big Ray Hamin Media on the Twitch channel. I said Moose's headband size is equator. And also, I said that his headband doubles as a karate belt. She really loved that, so that's really cool. But man, Moose is great, man. I love everything about him, dude. And that's a guy that I think should have been your champion a year ago. But do you hear the thunder?
I heard that,
dude. It's raining like bananas out here.
The sun is out here.
Yeah, but you're like on the West Coast, dude.
I'm on the East Coast. Here.
Yeah, well, yeah. At least we have less corona right now.
We have to stay. Well, yeah, that may be true, but we're also the state's in lockdown with CHOP and community protests. But that's a different conversation, right?
Is it?
that's a bigger conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so Moose, great stuff. But I mean, are you excited then for Tommy Dreamer versus Moose again? I mean, even though we kind of have already seen it.
I caught the end of the promo because I was at work again watching it, and yeah, Tommy cut a really really good promo. He was a little stiff in that promo, which I'm sure Tommy's earned that right, and I'm sure they discussed it beforehand. I'm sure he told Moose, look,
Pretty stiff.
I'm going in on you, dude. He's like, nobody paid to ever see you in a wrestling match. Nobody paid.
Failed in the NFL.
Nobody paid to see you play in the NFL. Like, dude, he went in wicked hard, as they would say in Boston. Yeah.
Do you just have the Dr. Destroyer Alex Arroyo Thunder guy in the background there doing shit? Or is Andrew Bello the God of Thunder? What is going on there?
Dude, it's just a lot of fucking thunder.
We have a lot of thunder people on our network. You know what I'm saying?
We do have a lot of thunder.
Hey.
Oh, maybe shout out to Thunder Rosa. Maybe she should come on. Maybe we could have her.
That's great.
She is great. I love her.
Thunder in your pants, that's for sure.
Thunder in my pants. Don't let her hear that. She'll kick your ass.
I meant you.
Oh, yes.
Some thunder in my pants for you.
A little bit. I got to make breakfast. I'm hungry. Anyway, what else we got here, Maddie? So yeah, I'm excited. To answer your question, yes, I'm excited because I know it's going to be a good match. I know it's going to be a lot of character work, a lot of fun. There's going to be blood. I think both guys are going to bleed. I think it's going to be some kick-ass shit, and don't be surprised if you get some maybe all the people that Moose, maybe the heel gets his comeuppance. Maybe Crazy Steve comes out. Maybe who else has he beaten up over the last couple of weeks?
Suicide, Jay Stevens.
I would have been more excited to see if they would have built her, Sean up to face Moose, because Sean is not.
They did fight each other for a couple weeks in a row. There was some back and forth between each other, so they kind of already did that.
So now I sound like an asshole because again I haven't been watching the products. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you this, Matt, and I swear to God, this is hand to God on my son's life. I'm gonna start watching TNA from here on because I really enjoyed it. Like, this was the first wrestling shit I've watched in months that I like. Oh shit, this was fun. So there you go.
All right. Well, I'm not going to go over the next match too much in details, guys. Kira Hogan with Tasha Steelz taking on Havoc and Nevaeh. The winner of this match was Kira Hogan. It was Hogan winning her singles match. She hadn't won a match in a while. If to kind of be following this, there's kind of an inclination that TNA or Impact, might be bringing back the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Maybe that's why they're building all these teams, right? Because you've got Taya and Rosemary, you've got Nevaeh and Havoc, you've got the Ratchet Crew of Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz. So there's kind of an inclination there that they might be kind of trying to bring something back along those lines. But, Kira Hogan picks up the victory. Did you want to talk about that or you want to move on?
Nah, I mean, Kira Hogan cheated, basically. She got, she distracted Havoc. Her tag team partner distracted Havoc. Wow, that's a loud one. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe I need to back off here, but she hits Havoc. She hits Havoc with the fucking big her face gimmick, her mask. And I was shocked because I was joking around with Matt saying, gee, I wonder who's going to go over here. And I was wrong. So
yeah,
I liked it.
I like the thunder here. It's great. And by the way, it's adding some nice ambiance. So backstage now, Moose responds to Tommy Dreamer's great promo. He says that he's going to sue the hell out of Tommy Dreamer and Impact Wrestling if he doesn't get a public apology for Dreamer for defamating his character. So I thought that was good.
So he should.
So he should. So they before the main event, Madison Rayne and Matthews announced that the matches are made for Slammiversary thus far. Matthews also announces that Sami Callihan will face Josh Alexander's next week. Okay, now we get into the main event. And this main event, everyone really liked this main event from Dr. Ted. Ben put it over highly on the stream he was watching. But these two guys go back and forth as far as Madman Fulton and Trey. Big guy, little guy. And just like the Thunder, these guys definitely brought the Thunder. A conclusion of this match, though, to kind of wrap up this show, guys, as we've been recording now for about 2 hours. Trey keeps the momentum up with several kicks at the end. He's close to getting the pin after a Northern Lights pin, but then Fulton barely makes it out of the count.
All right, let me just mute my mic here, please, because it's I'm afraid for my life. You have no idea. There's lightning, thunder. There are people like scratching at my windows trying to get into for refuge. So, all right, go ahead, Matt.
Fulton smashes Trey with the big splash in the corner, and then Trey finds his stick. He finds his stick, and he made his own thunders. He hit Fulton with it, and then the referee calls for the match to end. So the winner of this match via disqualification is Madman Fulton.
Yep.
What'd you think?
I thought it was cool. I thought it did what it was supposed to do. What is it supposed to do? Make you believe that Trey has a chance to win the title. You see a more aggressive, Trey, a guy that just technically took down a giant, in Madman Fulton. He put a hell of a fight out there. And I had even asked you, hey, so since the last time I watched, has Trey become the singles standout, which I think, if I'm correct, you and I, when we were doing Impact Attack, we were kind of saying that Trey would kind of be that breakout guy.
Yep.
So cool. It's cool to see that. You could just tell, when somebody's got it. So this was cool all the way around. I love what's his name, Ace Austin, as the manager. Oh God, what if? Oh no, I just thought of something terrible. What if the fourth guy in the title match is Madman Fulton?
No, I don't think
hope
so.
Not. I hope
don't think
not.
so.
What does he have going on?
He can come out to the ring and stand at ringside for Ace Austin. He doesn't need to be in the match.
I hope not, dude. I hope not, because that would be a really big disappointment. By the way, Slammiversary is when? Do you know off the top of your head?
July 18th.
Okay, so I have surgery on July 16th, so I will be off. I don't know if I'll be home from the hospital, but I'd definitely be watching Slammiversary. Hopefully from the hospital. I'll bring my laptop with me. Maybe I'll be home in time to record with you guys. Because I'll be in pain. But I really want to do that. Like, are you reviewing the Slammiversary gimmick? You have anybody coming on with you? Or?
I'm not doing that live. I'm going to bed. I'll be asleep.
So maybe.
I got to work the next day. I'll probably talk about Slammiversary on Impact, the next Impact episode.
Okay. I gotta figure something out, but I'm looking forward to watching it, dude. After this, I was like, you know what? Should I watch Slammiversary? Now I really want to watch Slammiversary. So, man, I gotta tell you, man, it was a pleasure coming on with you here.
It was a pleasure having you on here, Big Ray.
It was a long fucking podcast. A lot of recording time. You guys won't understand how much work Matt is gonna put into this. And I just want to give first a big shout out to my brother, Ben Hamin. I love you, buddy. This was great to see your face. We don't get to see each other as much anymore, but we do talk a lot. But it was really cool, being on with Doc. I think what happened? You gonna say something smart?
I was gonna say I think you should go on. You're gonna have to go on an NXT show with him now. So that'll be fun and reviewing an episode of NXT with Dr. Ted at some point.
I could do that. do that. But Ted,
you already review SmackDown, so you're already suffering, right?
Yeah, jeez. No, it was great, man. I mean, very smart dude. A lot of fucking charisma. Just really cool. We kicked it off really good. But Ben always says the same thing, and good people find a way to find each other. So it was really cool. And of course, being back here with my buddy Matt, it's been way too fucking long, dude. I really enjoy this time chatting.
Are you gonna stooge off what happened with the other brand on the Ridiculously Random podcast on this first episode? I gotta give me the stooge.
Well, okay, so here's the deal, guys. All right, so if you guys don't know, we were on another platform, and that platform had a show on here on Sundays. That is no longer happening. It has been that relationship has been terminated. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Yes, we're gonna stooge off what happened, but it's not. I'm not gonna tear anybody down. All I'm gonna do is tell the truth, and if the truth sucks, then it's not our fault that the truth sucks. Does that make sense? Because there's a lot of moving parts to this, so you guys will have to tune in. So, with that being said, me and Billy Ray Valentine decided to revive an old podcast platform called the PW Hustle. Before it was the Pro Wrestling Hustle, and they did a lot of pro wrestling stuff. But we've had this passion project in the back of our minds for a while. And no, I'm not leaving Hamin Media, no way. But I want to do something on the side, different. And so Ridiculously Random Podcast will be debuting Thursday, July 2nd on the new podcast platform. Matt, if you don't mind, I'm going to put it over really quickly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, you can just Google the PW Hustle Networks, all one word, the space PW Hustle Networks, apostrophe S, podcast on Podbean. And it's not the Pro Wrestling Hustle, it's the podcast world hustle. So we've changed it, we rebranded it. We're gonna have some cool people, some friends coming over, hopefully yourself, doing some stuff if you have time, which Matt has no time. But we do have some people that have not gotten opportunities, and this is going to be some time for them to get some opportunities and for them to have more fun and to do, and just get out there and make people laugh. And that's what we're going to be doing with the Ridiculously Random Podcast. We have Jargo, he's doing his New Japan Pro Wrestling thing there as well, along other places. And we have some shows. I can't stooge off now what we're doing moving forward, but I appreciate and applaud. I thank you guys for supporting everything I've done over the last couple of years, man. And you can give me a follow on Twitter at Big Ray Show, on Instagram at Big Ray Show, and also on Facebook at Raymond Big Ray Hernandez, and at Your Random Pod if you want to, all the latest and greatest in that shows. Good times. You look cold. You all right?
No, I was just thinking, once you kind of stooge off what happened with the Voices of Misery, I will then tell our listeners here, check out the Suck My Balls podcast.
Sure.
Because once you talk about it, then I will talk about what happened with us, guys, because of course, my podcast, Suck My Balls, was on the Voices of Misery platform as well. And based upon our similar situations and the outcome, it kind of sounds like it played out the same way. So I think after you kind of have your discussion on better was, then I can kind of follow your lead, because I don't want to say the wrong things as well too. So,
well, here's the thing, like I said, and I'll let you go with this, Matt.
And by the way, I have no hate for them as people.
No,
I want to point that out. This is all business.
Mm-hmm.
I have no hate. I have no disliking for them as individuals or people. I just want to be clear on that.
Here's the problem. Okay. You know what? No, I'm not going to say anything here. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to save it for the Ridiculously Random Podcast. Again, check out the PW Hustle over on Podbean. Oh, very important, guys. I don't know why this happens, but it's going to take iTunes 2 weeks to pick up our show for some reason.
Yep.
So you're going to have to find another way to listen on any
Spotify.
Spotify. There you go. Go to Spotify or go to Podbean, download it there. And if you can't do it there, find it somewhere where I don't care. Just get the downloads up, guys, and share the show. And eventually, in 2 weeks, we'll turn up on iTunes. I don't know why that happens, but
follow him at Your Random Pod, right, on Twitter.
Yeah, at Your Random Pod. It's being in Colin at Colin Y Song. And if you're lucky enough, Colin will send you a dick pic.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for here. Another edition of the Impact Attack. I'm your host of the most lives on the West Coast, your boy, MSG. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Shaffer. As I mentioned, check out my other podcast, Suck My Balls. Brand new episode up right now, right here on hackerhamin.podbean.com, as well as the YouTube video episode number 30, Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson. Let's go check that out. Wednesday Locker Room with Strangler Steve King, Andrew Bello, and Billy Ray Valentine is up now as well. So go check those out, guy. Come back tonight if you're watching this today on YouTube, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman for Greek God Pop Don, Ben Hamin, Big Sal, and Stevie Richards. And I guess go to prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin/SEG shirt /BWO Stevie /Greek God Papa Don. Visit our sponsors, StevieRichardsFitness.com, prowrestlingtees.com, and Russo Bro Coffee, bro. No. And also get some Zordo's olive oil. Lather yourself up with it. ZordosOliveOil.com. Big Ray, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for dropping back into the Impact Attack.
Thank you for having me. I hope.
And as in the words of Big Ray, he would do this for a living for free, but if he didn't do it, he would love it because he wants to talk about pro wrestling.
You know what? That's close enough.
And we'll see you down the road.
What you gonna do, brother? With Hulkamania, brother, lifting 5,000-pound giants over my head, dude, and the Impact Attack run wild on you. Asha.
I don't think racists are allowed on this show anymore. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, brother.
Sorry. Laters, guys.